Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show today. Glad to have you. What is this, May? It's May. We finally come into it. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying your Cinco de Mayo. Is that what today is? Probably not. I think so. Or is that on the 5th? Yeah, it's probably on the 5th. Whatever. It's a day where you go drink alcohol. Yeah, enjoy that party whenever it might happen. I do like me some tacos, though. I do. But that's the only holiday well, no, I guess to get the Day of the Dead, too. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to May. Glad to have you guys here with us today. We're going to be getting into a lot of interesting things, some good, some bad, of course, as usual. First things first, if you guys could please go over there and definitely hit that. What happened to that? Definitely hit the like button and share out so we can definitely get some more people in here. Let me kind of bring this up real quick and bring this over on this side. Do apologize real quick there. There we go. And but yeah, no, if you guys could do me a favor with that, so we get more people over here. But nevertheless, how was your weekend? Hopefully, it was good. I had a pretty slow weekend. I had to go last week and go pick up my daughter, so we I didn't do the drone and quartered. But it is what it is. She is here for the Golden Week. Now, Golden Week over here is an interesting little holiday. I guess they had like three different holidays that are kind of spread around a very tight area, like some past emperors' birthdays and stuff like that. And they decided that they were going to just consolidate it all together into one big holiday called Golden Week, and mainly to promote movie watching, which is interesting. So this is a time where Japanese supposedly go out and watch movies, and I guess they might be doing that. But it's just a weird little holiday here in Japan. Japanese don't do a lot of holidays. They have kind of the red letter days like we have, but they don't do anything on them per se. But the only holidays where they actually have a few days off in a row are things like New Year's and Obon, which is in August. It's kind of like our Halloween is what it's like what Halloween used to be before we commercialized it. And then they got Golden Week. What you said is this weird, quirky little thing that's going on right now. So it is odd, but it's everyone's off across Japan for most of the week. I do have a little bit of work today, but most of my week I'm pretty much off, I guess. Other than the YouTube stuff, and of course, my daughter's here. Like I said, my son might drop in too. For we might go take a little trip or something here in the middle of the week. I don't know, but nevertheless, hello Roger. We got Connie in here. Bad weather here. Had to go to phone to listen to the show. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you're here. Actually, it's really nice weather here, although at the end of the week we're supposed to get some storms again. But it's that time of year, so no big deal. But it's quite a pretty day outside right now. It's still a little bit cool, which I appreciate, because when it gets hot here, it gets stupid. It's not that it's really really hot. It's the humidity is just unbearable. You can barely breathe. It's like living in a sauna. But hey, you know what? I have air conditioning. It's a thing. So that's always good. But other than that, I just kind of had a quiet little weekend, just staying home and reading and doing the various things I do. So that's nice. My wife, of course, is very, very happy. She's chatting with her daughter quite a bit. Of course, my daughter lives in a city to the north. She's graduated and working and has a job and all that kind of normal stuff. So we don't see her all the time. Roger says this Saturday night I saw a pretty awesome movie called Nosferatu the Vampire from 1971. Must say, for seeing that movie for the first time, it was kind of awesome. Yeah, no, that is a good movie. Don't shy away, guys, from watching some of the old cinema. They're actually pretty good. I know that the special effects isn't quite what we have today, sure, but the acting tends to be better. The stories tend to be better written. I mean, we get good things every now and then, but I'll tell you what. I'm a kid of the 80s, right? I mean, of course, I grew up in the 70s, so I was little though. But when we talk about our age, we're talking about our coming of age, like at 12 to 18 years. I'm an 80s kid, and we were pretty lucky because there was a lot of really good film and music, and comic books and entertainment in general and culture in that period. Sure. And of course, there was a lot of bad stuff too, just like any other decade. However, I do have to say that these days, the percentage of good to bad is higher, though, meaning that it's more bad than good. I don't know why things are so low right now as far as quality storytelling, and particularly in movies and TV. Like I said, there was plenty of bad stuff in any decade you go to. There's plenty of bad stuff, but we just seem to have more bad stuff now. I know we tend to blame everything on the message, but I don't think it's all that. I just think it's, we have a lot of people in the industry that really aren't qualified to be making decisions. I think that's the real problem. Really artsy, he must say, with it. Yeah, no, yeah, but it's not a bad movie. Go watch some of those old Hammer movies. They're pretty good. There's lots of good stuff. Like way back when we had the access to that Rabbit Vision, which is off now. I suppose we could find another way to do it, but yeah, we could do it through Discord, couldn't we? But we did Bunny Vision movie night, which I actually enjoyed doing that. And one of the movies we watched during that was the original Godzilla. Now the thing with that was I had seen that when I was a kid, but it had oh, I can't remember the actor's name, but I think he did Perry Mason. But it was okay. But I had never seen the original Japanese one, which I know is weird. But we watched that together. My God, that thing's from what, the 50s? Late 50s, I think. Yeah. That movie was breathtaking. I mean, I was really surprised how emotional and impactful that movie was. And that's decades and decades and decades ago. So don't be afraid to watch old stuff. There's some good things out there. Oh, dude, Captain Chronos Vampire Slayer is another fun movie, Roger. Yeah, that is a good one. But there's a bunch of good stuff for sure you can watch. One of the things I think was very successful about the 80s in particular, because everyone keeps going back to the nostalgia of the 80s, and it might just be that my generation is kind of in charge of everything right now. But I think the 80s were pretty good. But one of the things that were very successful about the 80s, as far as movie making and storytelling, what they did was they went back to all that stuff back in the 50s and 60s that didn't work well. They were good ideas, but they were kind of failures, and they remade those things, and they had a lot of success with that. Where these days they constantly want to remake successful things, which is kind of dumb. Why would you want to mess with something that already has the huge nostalgia and love behind it? You're really putting yourself behind the eight ball with that, aren't you? It would be way better to take something that was a cool idea and try to make something good out of a failure, which is what the 80s did. And they did it really well. Music as well. I mean, I have to say that the 80s was probably the last generation to be able to get access to newer ideas because music had developed into what this jazz thing, into this bluesy thing, into rock and roll, and then it just started evolving, and now we're getting so redundant with music that we really need a new revolution, some new kind of thinking, some new idea. It'll come eventually, but we're stuck. We're in this kind of this static, stale cracker zone right now of creativity across the board. And I understand we like jabbing and joking about all the woke culture and the the message type of stuff, but it isn't all that. I just think that people have become creatively bankrupt, or at least the ones in charge right now, and we're just kind of banging our heads against the wall. It will break out of it, but I know it's easy to just point a finger and say, "Oh, it's wokeism's fault." I don't think that's 100% true.
I think that's more of a symptom than it is the cause.
Yeah,
I think it's the reason why they lean on that so that they can get
you're
a bunch
really
of
low, by
praise.
the way.
I don't know. Hang on, let me check something. The reason why they lean on that so they can get a bunch of praise is because, yeah, I don't know what's going on with my mic. Let me switch to this one. That better?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that better?
It is a little bit better, not perfectly though, but I'll just turn myself
What
up
about
again.
now?
That's better. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Yeah, somehow my sensitivity got turned way up. Okay.
Yeah, it's cleaner too.
Anyway, so I think a lot of that's fake insofar as most of these people don't actually believe, the quote unquote message is real. They're not actual acolytes, if you will.
Hmm.
But what they want is they want the praise. They want the accolades.
Sure.
And the easy way to get that is to lean into the current cultural narrative, right? Whatever it is, it could be anything. Right now, it happens to be what we call the message. Um, I think that that's starting to end. I think we've seen that repeatedly now. We see the backlash building and building and building and building, and it's starting to shift, and they're being forced to shift. Good example. Netflix just canceled a bunch of shows because that all of which, or most of which, were infiltrated and infested with it.
Sure.
Disney's obviously, and all sorts of stuff's happening to them, and now we have the a former CEO of McDonald's is creating a coalition of like-minded financiers and things to
Hmm.
try and take back some of these institutions through investing, which is the right way to do it, and start basically a separate financial system inside the current system
Uh-huh.
to try and wrest away the financial system from the woke maniacs. Um, and that's good. That's all good. But I do think that for culturally for these creatives, I don't even want to call them that, but that's what they're called. Um, they lean on that stuff because it's easy, because they know they can get a bunch of easy praise and they can get funded, so they can make the thing they want to make and just get paid. So they lean on it. Whereas guys like Robert Eggers, for example, he doesn't lean on it. At least I haven't seen him lean on it, and he just makes really weird, like awesome stuff. Just stuff that is like it's creative and
Like
it's
he's cool.
relatively unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say him because I went and saw the Northman, and oh boy, that's a movie.
That's a movie
That's what
for
I've been
me.
waiting
Am I
for.
gonna like it?
Oh yeah,
Sweet.
you're gonna like it.
Sweet.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and Elrod, that's the point I'm making, actually, dude. I'm saying that, yeah, of course we have a bunch of this woke stuff, obviously, but I think the problem is deeper than that, is what I'm saying. But yeah, no, but how many times though, Thundero, and chat,
Yeah.
your opinion as well. How many times have we remade some legendary thing that actually worked out well? How many times has that happened, though?
Oh, not many.
Yeah, if at
Um,
all.
the best one maybe. Ooh, that is tough. Um, well, I guess it depends on what you decide is legendary. A lot of people would say especially in this space, would probably lean on things like Batman, right? Because he was remade multiple times.
Hmm.
But I don't really think that's fair, because I think a lot of times people forget that especially the original iteration of Batman that was remade into the Caped Crusader that we know now
Yeah.
wasn't really legendary at the time, right? He just kind of existed. Um, so I don't think that's necessarily fair, but it's really hard. It'd be hard, especially even in, like, just stick to movies. It's hard to do, man. It's hard to even think of one where, let's say, it was made in the 40s or the 50s and they remade it and it was simply better.
Yeah.
There's a few examples, but they're few and far between, and I'm
Yeah.
struggling to even think of one right
Yeah,
now.
I can't think of one at all. I'm sure there must be an example, and Elrod will find it because that's what he does. But the thing is, though, like with the Batman movie that came out, that's definitely, go watch it. It's a fun movie. But what did he do unique in that? Nothing. It's
Nothing.
nothing
Nothing.
new in that movie at all. There's nothing new.
Nope.
All he did was just, all right, fine, we're going to tell this story and we're going to do it well. That's it.
That's right.
So I mean
That's right.
that there's an opening for that as well. But
You
I
know, in the
just think we're.
70s and 80s, when there was a lot of really weird, esoteric, like horror movies,
Oh yeah,
right in that time frame,
Altered State.
the yeah, the Northman is kind of like that. It's not a horror movie per se,
Hmm.
but it has that kind of weirdness to it. That like you're watching it and it's an action movie, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like that when you're watching it, and it's so bizarre in a good way, because that's how you subvert expectations, right? You watch the trailers and you think you're just going to get a brutal action movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You get a brutal action movie, but it's so much more than that,
Well, it's
and that's
Eggers.
what I like.
He's kind of artsy
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, I'm cool with it, man. I'm cool. And he's trying different genres, and he's trying to
Yeah.
make good movies. I'm all for it, man. Cuz you could even make something that wouldn't necessarily go in my wheelhouse, but if it's really well done, I'll watch it, dude. Dave
Me
comes
too.
out with the Fly. I agree. The original was good and the remake was good. The Thing, I don't
Yep.
agree. The original wasn't very good. The remake was awesome. True Grit,
Yep.
I agree. Yeah, dude.
True Grit.
Yeah, no,
I'll give
True
you.
Grit.
Yep.
That's probably the best example, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because the John Wayne one was really good. But our boy Bridges, his remake, I like it better, dude. Yeah,
that's good.
yeah,
Good to hear.
yeah.
There,
So
there's
thank
been
you,
a
Dave.
couple, a handful here or there, but it's super rare where the new one's better than the old one. And of course, that can be subjective. It's pretty rare when you get a near universal, you know, acceptance that this is better than the original.
Hmm.
Um, it does happen occasionally, but it's so few and far between. It
Yeah,
really beleaguers, it begs the question of why they do it at all,
yeah.
because very often it just makes the fan, unless they do it from like a huge time gap, like 50 years,
Hmm.
it makes the fans of the original just perturbed, right?
It
Just like,
can.
ah,
It
come on,
can, especially with
ah,
these shorter distances they're doing. Yeah, no, they're failing a
yeah,
lot with that. And Elrod makes a point that they're continuing to do it because it's working out financially. Well, I don't know. It's hard to see that. They must be making money somehow. There's something going on with it. I do know you do get about every now and then you get a bunch of salary movies. That's what I call them. I don't know what the official term would be, but salary movies are just they're not interested in making money. They're just there. They want to break even. It's just to get people paid,
yeah,
right? And I don't have a problem with that per se. I'm okay with that. I don't know what the model is, Elrod, but it's not what we think it is. Clearly, there's something else going on because we see them losing money left and right. But whatever, they keep pushing it, so there must be some profit somewhere. Brewster Millions, Richard Pryor was a remake. Yep, and like I said, the '80s was full of them, dude. And they
yep,
did a good job because they were things that were cool ideas but didn't do well, and they brought them back in general. Elrod says, was Jeff Bridges speaking English been True Grit, or did he have a stroke? Well, yeah, he usually has strokes. That's fair. But but no, dude, Jeff Bridges is as the decades have gone by, there's plenty of actors you could point to and say, "Oh, that person's going to become a legend here or there," and sometimes
sure,
that's true, and sometimes people surprise you. I would have never guessed that Jeff Bridges would be one of my favorite actors. There's no way, but yet he is. I love me some Jeff Bridges, dude.
yeah, yeah. Jeff Bridges is awesome. He seems like a genuinely awesome man as well. Like just he seems like the type of man you'd like to just hang out with and just talk to about stuff, because he's incisive and thoughtful. Whenever I hear him speak outside of a film or outside of whatever, like that whole industry, he has things to say. Now, not that I don't necessarily always agree with him,
Sure.
but the way he says them is interesting, right? He's one of those kind of guys. Like I could
Yeah.
listen to him just talk about anything for a long period of time, because obviously his voice is very enthralling, but also the way he says things. Like a great example of that, Morgan Freeman. Everybody loves Morgan Freeman's voice, right? He didn't
Yeah.
always
Oh
have
yeah.
that
He's
voice. He
awesome.
learned it.
Of course he did.
He even
Yeah.
said in interviews he absolutely learned it. He went to voice coaches and things to
Sure.
learn how to speak, to learn diction, to learn oration, so
Oh
that
yeah.
when he spoke, people would listen.
Oh no.
And
Yeah. The only
works.
person born epic was James Earl Jones. I mean, that's let's be fair.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
voice is obscene. It's so
Yeah.
good. It's vulgar.
He's so badass. Hey, Art, what's up, buddy? I haven't been able to talk to you in a long time, Art, man. Glad to see you. Hope everything's going well, dude. I know he's been kind of pushing along with his channel. He's got a good show I've seen little bits and pieces of here there, where he has a bunch of pros come in and they just kind of talk art and stuff and draw and stuff. It's pretty cool, dude.
That
Definitely
is
go
cool.
check out RT Bear if you haven't, guys. Go check out his channel. Of course, he is the legend, RT Bear. Uh,
He is indeed.
he is indeed. Matter of fact, I was looking at one of his books just the other day. I was having a reread of Super Sons,
Ooh,
which is probably a
ooh.
sore subject. I shouldn't have brought that up. I do apologize, Art. But love
Trying
to
to
see you,
cause
dude.
trouble already. You can't take this guy anywhere, Mr.
That's
T
true.
Bear. You just can't.
That's
You
true.
can't.
That is true. Bo Bridges. Hey, we got people popping in here. Uh, James Earl Jones has a secret stutter. Well, I wouldn't know. But that dude's just his voice is so awesome. One of the
Yeah,
sad things, and I'm kind of glad he did it. I didn't watch I wouldn't call it the CG version of Lion King because why? I mean,
you're right.
I mean, once again,
The more expensive animated version. Yeah,
yeah, it's dumb. I mean, one of the original one of the original great Disney movies, Lion King. Right, it's a really good film. And they've had plenty of other ones, Snow White, and I mean, my God, the list goes on, right? But Lion King was a really, really good movie. And when they were remaking it, it was like, because it had John Favreau, who I do tend to like. He is kind of hit and miss. I was like, why? But then I watched part one of YMS's, and he's really good reviewer, by the way. He's kind of weird, gawky, geeky, youngish guy, but he's really good at no, he's really good at reviewing movies, though. He understands it implicitly. He's an
Is
actual
that your
critic.
movie sucks, guy? Is that who you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about?
that's who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, I know the name kind of throws you off and stuff, and he can be funny too. But that dude really knows cinema. He really, really does, and you got
yeah.
to respect that. And I watched the part one on that, and it was like, oh, what a freaking disaster that movie turned out to be. And one of the sad things about it is, of course, one of the big points from Lion King was James Earl Jones' voice is Papa Lion, right? Mustafa, I think his name was. And just epic, my God, because him and the Jeremy Irons. He played Scar, and they
Yeah.
spoke with as if they were lions. It was really well done. The voice acting in that movie is epic. And the problem is they brought James back. They didn't bring back Irons for some reason. They had an idiot doing his, but they brought James Earl Jones back. But he's really old now. He can't do it anymore. So what they did was kind of secretly cut in a lot of stuff from the animated one. Yeah. They
But of
thought,
course, yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand why Disney has felt the need to remake all these movies suddenly in the last decade or so.
Mhm,
Because for my money, they've all been garbage. I
mhm.
haven't liked a single one of their remakes. I've
Well,
watched pretty much all of them except Aladdin because I refuse. I like one. Listen, I like one Disney movie. I actually enjoy one Disney movie. It's Aladdin. I'm not watching that nonsense with Will Smith. I'm not doing it.
yeah,
I don't
I
care.
I feel a little bit bad for Will because I mean, you can't replace Robin Williams, dude. That is
Yeah,
just
that's why I wouldn't watch it.
impossible. Yeah,
Why even try? Why even try?
I agree.
It's just not something
Yeah.
that's gonna. Nobody's winning that battle. Doesn't matter.
And
Why even try?
what they could have done, seeing because it's all CG anyway, and seeing as they
Yep.
literally have hours and hours of Robin Williams riffing on Aladdin. On the
Yeah.
genie, right? They literally hours. They could have made that movie just with Robin Williams outtakes. They could have, right? And that's
Yeah.
would have been smart because I understand Will's going through a hard
Actually,
time
no,
right
they
now.
can't.
What was that, Grimlock?
They can't. It was in his will. They
Oh
can't use
God.
his
Okay.
400
Yeah,
years.
All
yeah,
right.
no,
Fine.
that's why
That's
he
fine.
couldn't use his voice for any of the sequels and stuff. He had there's a big story about it because Robin was very concerned about Disney using him in an inappropriate way,
Hmm.
and he had specific contract language that they were
Yeah.
constantly skirting around. Like he wasn't supposed like for posters, he wasn't supposed to be more than like 33% of like the poster or something like that because he really
Hmm.
didn't want them to like sell the movie on him, and they
Well,
did anyway, and
well,
they were constantly report about it.
of course
He
they
wasn't
did.
even supposed to be. He wasn't even supposed to be revealed. You're supposed to find
No,
out as you watched the
Eh,
movie.
he was.
and
I think Robin's being a bit pedantic with that because he is the movie. Ben, if you can
Yeah.
do me a favor and turn up a little bit, your volume's a bit low. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, I agree with your point. Although their first live action take, the Cinderella seemed to do pretty well. I haven't seen it, but because of that success, they kind of went on and yeah, I don't know why they keep pushing this live action stuff. It doesn't seem to be really hitting for them. Like for instance, they brought in Emma Watson, right, to do Beauty and the
Hmm.
Beast. Fine. I mean, as far as acting, she's fine. As far as look, she's a cute kid. Well, not now. I don't know what the hell happened to her. It's that Hollywood diet. But anyway, cute kid. No problem, right? No problem, no problem. But she can't sing at all. She literally can't
Yeah.
sing. They had to double auto tune her. Now I know you guys might not be
Yeah.
able to catch that, but I did.
Yeah.
It is she's way overtuned. It's almost computer effect voice in that it's so digitally
Well,
manipulated.
and it's not like there's not plenty of actresses in the
Yeah,
world right now, thousands of
yeah,
them that can sing.
Yep.
They're
Yeah.
everywhere.
You should
I
hear the
don't.
Japanese girl who sang for that. Freaking phenomenal, right?
I don't get it. I don't understand it because it's not like, I mean, Emma Watson. Okay, she has some clout, sure,
Yeah,
but is
sure.
she a needle mover? Is she gonna?
Oh
Is she
yeah.
gonna? Is there gonna be scores of people that come just to see Emma Watson? I don't. I don't think so.
Maybe a
I don't think
little.
she's a not. She's not a
Maybe a little.
nobody, but she's not like, she's not a big
Yeah.
draw.
No, I
Um,
get why they picked her. I just because when as soon as they found out she couldn't sing, they were like, "Well, go find someone who can." Like you said, there's a lot of actresses that
yeah,
are triple threats. I mean, they could have found a lot of
yes.
actresses that do that. But I mean, they keep doing this stuff, and I don't know. These films are certainly not made for me. So fair enough. But the
Hmm.
people they are made for are complaining. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so we got ourselves a Thundero, we got ourselves a Ben and a Grimlock, which makes me happy. How you doing,
That's
Grimlock?
good.
Oh, and a really popular remake that is universally seen as better than the original that nobody mentioned, surprisingly, is
Hmm.
Scarface.
Oh yeah,
Mm,
mm,
yeah, that's true.
that's a good
That's
point.
true. I,
It is.
I completely forgot that it was one till you said that.
Yeah, no,
Well, yeah,
Pacino
Yep.
killed
most
that.
people
That's
don't.
true.
Yeah, most
Yeah,
people don't realize that there was an original made in like the 30s or
yeah,
something. Like
Yes,
people.
yeah,
Yep.
Scarface, Shame of the Nation.
yeah,
Right.
Yep.
yeah,
It's a very old movie.
yeah. So there are examples, and we acknowledge that there
Yes,
certainly were. But in general, you're fighting an uphill battle by doing that,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I don't know that the original Scarf, because I haven't seen it, I don't know that it was a good movie or not, right?
Um, I barely remember it. I know I watched it a long time ago when I was in my mid 20s, when I was still a big cinema nerd, but I
It's
barely remember it.
it's a very different film. It's meant for a
Yeah.
different era, a whole different generation. Like it's not. It's just the two. Comparing the two is almost like
Is it
doesn't serve a
Yeah.
purpose.
is it true crime noir?
No, not
No.
not
no.
No.
Okay.
no. You,
Okay.
you got to think of it
But
more an old black and white film, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Well, I mean,
the
I
the
get you.
the,
Yeah.
the most ironic thing is about that original is that the original Scarface was an Italian immigrant, and
Uh-huh.
then in the
Yeah.
remake you hire an Italian to play a Cuban immigrant.
I
To
know it's
play a
weird,
Cupid.
right? It's weird. Yeah. But it
it's almost
worked
like
well. It's a
hiring
good story.
I mean, it worked out well, but I mean, it's just like
Yeah, it is
when you
weird.
realize
Yeah.
that it's like, what the hell?
Yeah. No, ID Crisis, the thing was much better the second time. That is a good example of what I had said initially. The thing, the first thing was a B sci-fi movie.
Mm.
Yeah, the Carpenter's remake was freaking epic. It's one of my favorite horror movies, or at least body horror monster movies. It's really, really good. And keep in mind, though, at the time it came out, it didn't do well because critics hate Carpenter. I don't know why, but they hate him.
Yeah, they don't like him. Not a
Yeah.
fan of him.
So, but it was really good, and I remember I
Audiences,
saw it.
though.
Oh yeah, we love it.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Because I actually saw that when it came out. Man, that thing was awesome.
Yeah,
But anyway, we're just kind of waiting for everyone to show up, and they've all showed up, and we even have an RT Bear, which means we have good luck today. It's
that's
like
good.
it's
Yeah,
kind of like when you have an RT Bear, it's like finding a four-leaf clover.
that's true.
It's true.
True.
Yeah, it's very true.
An
Uh,
artsy one, even.
An RT1, yes. No,
Yeah.
he is pretty amazing. But definitely go check out his channel, guys. Anyway, let's go over here and let's get started. So I'm going to share here, and sharing is caring, they say. But anyway,
Yeah, them communists. That's
yeah,
what communists say.
definitely a communist. Yes, I know. I do apologize. But anyway, here we go. Let's get into it. I'm going to start out with a tabletop mention. I haven't done that in a little while. I want to get back to it, so here we go. Now, here's the thing. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it. Okay, let me fix it. Okay, now, okay, it's fixed. Okay, good. Now, I saw this on Kickstarter, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit. So, they got 10 days left on this Kickstarter's DC deck building game for the 10th anniversary. What is that? 85 million. So what is that? About $660,000 or so. Let me check it real quick.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, right,
660,000.
right. 660. Yeah. So it's doing well, which
It's
of
doing okay.
course, which I'm not surprised. But the reason I want to talk about this in particular is kind of an interesting tabletop conversation here, because when this came out, of course. I've talked about board games here many, many times, and I try to give you guys suggestions on what to add to your libraries and things like that. And deck building is certainly one of my favorite mechanics. I love it. There's so many really interesting and different deck building games. And this came out at kind of the heyday where everyone was throwing deck builders at the wall. Right, and when this came out, of course, DC's got all this great art, all these favorite characters from Cryptozoic that we know, but at the same time, they came out with this one here called Legendary. Now, Legendary kicked the hell out of DC deck building, dude. It just murderlated it. And Legendary has gone on to, I can't even keep up with how many expansions have been added from Marvel for this. I mean, my God, there must be 50, right? And I'm not even exaggerating. It's ridiculous how many. But they've also come out with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. What was that Kurt Russell movie? Something in Little China. What was the name of that? Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes.
Alien 007. So the legendary system has been used for many things, not just Marvel. But when these came out, they were competing, and Legendary won. They just smashed DC. And why did that happen? Well, the reason it happened was very, very simple. The legendary system is a competitive game in a way, but it's more of a cooperative game, meaning where you're working together to defeat the game. And it had multi tiers, many layers of things that you had to deal with together, and you had to, all right, I'll do this, you do that. So you're interacting together. You're there because that's what's the point. You're sitting around a table playing a game. You're doing it together, right? DC deck builder, when it first came out, didn't have any of that. You basically did your round. It had great art, and the mechanic was fine. It had deck building and stuff, but you were playing all by yourself. Really, it didn't matter how many people. You could have a full board. I think this game plays of 5 or 6. You could have a full board of people, and you're not interacting at all. Zero interaction, and that's just a mistake. They screwed up. Now they eventually went and did fix it, and they've made a little bit of a comeback, and they've added a lot of stuff. And here they're adding a little bit more, but they're kind of throwing everything into a big bundle here. Good for them for keep working on it, keep pushing it. They didn't give up on it, so good for them. The art is gorgeous, and I haven't played the new iteration, so I don't really know if it's good or not. But I just saw that now, and it made me remember their absolute butt kicking that they took to Legendary, because it was a big news for board gamers at the time of how much better Legendary was with this. Nevertheless, you can get in on this Kickstarter. It's got 10 days left. It's pricey. It's very pricey, hundreds of dollars even. So I don't know if it's something I can even recommend because I'm not going to go spend this kind of money on it. But they do have the entire game plus some extras. So if you felt like you missed out on it, you could definitely get in. But they got all these things that came out, all the improvements. The confrontations is the one that really improved the game because, like I said, there was no interaction. This fixed that. And you get all the base game stuff. You got a little expansion kits, the character kits. Because in this game, basically the way it works is like this: you choose your hero, and there's a huge list of heroes to choose from. And of course, every expansion that came out added more. But you choose your hero, and that hero gives you certain bonuses in gameplay. Additions to power, additional card draw. If you ever played a deck builder, drawing cards or whatever, each hero would give you these things, and then you can go about kind of interacting with the world, defeating the villains, getting locations, etc., etc. So it works like a pretty standard deck builder in that way, except for they kind of had a universal power points instead of having money and attack, which most deck builders have. However, it was kind of an interesting look, but I just want to talk about it a little bit. It's got everything. In here, you can also at the end of the game, these little stars you see here. Whoever has the most stars wins, but you know it's really kind of not the point. If you want to play a DC game, I would say go get Versus because the DC Versus, I think they have a Marvel one too. Probably Marvel one came first. That is better, and of course you're just fighting each other straight up. It's just a fighting battle game. You build your own. It's like the old Magic stuff. Any of you guys play Magic other than Ben and I?
Negative.
No, Grimlock? Okay. But the Versus one is much more Magic-like.
Magic briefly.
Yeah. Anyway, I just
I never
saw it.
really got into it.
No, yeah, no, I get it. I get that. The only reason I was really into it is because I was literally sitting in a gaming shop when the Magic people came in to
Yeah.
pass out cards and stuff to hey try our game. But anyway, they do come in a nice big old box. There's a lot of cards here for your several $100s you're going to spend. Yeah, any comments on this from anybody?
Not for me.
Yeah. Uh, it's not really a recommend for me because it's so expensive, and I don't know if it worked. Although I'm assuming they fixed it somewhat. But if you're into collecting DC stuff, you're gonna get a lot of great art here. You're gonna get probably every character that exists in DC. I know they did that with Legendary with Marvel. I mean, I don't think there's a character missing as far as all the stuff that comes out. So if you're into collecting that, it's fun. And of course, yeah, it's a quick little game you could play. It doesn't take too long to play the game. Although I really think I'd probably suggest Versus over this one. Nevertheless, let's move on. Unfortunately, our first news of the day is not a good one.
Our first news of the day: legendary Batman and Green Lantern artist Neil Adams passes away at 80.
Wow.
80's a pretty long life.
80 is a long life. But
Okay.
Neil Adams, my God. I mean, this guy. He went from I think he was an Archie artist at some time. He did the funny papers, the comic strip stuff. Of course, he worked with DC. Has he ever worked for Marvel? I wonder.
I
Huh.
I don't know.
believe he did.
But anyway, they got some examples of his art. I'll go through here, but 80 years old is not really sadness to it. Of course, condolences to his family and safe journey, sir. But this guy was absolutely influential in the comic book industry, without question. Especially his art style, because if you think about Kirby back at the day, Kirby's kind of weird. And you either kind of grow into Kirby, like when you first drink a beer, you're like, God, this stuff sucks. Why do people drink it?
Hmm.
You kind of do, unless you sit and talk to an artist. And I have talked to Art and Gary Shipman, and they explained to me why Kirby is important and why he's great. And now I understand. But before, I wasn't a huge fan of Kirby. I was like, it's kind of ugly. But Neil here isn't that. He's much more of I don't know if I call it photorealistic, but more realistic in his art. So that was certainly a big difference. But he's a great artist, dude. And he's done so many things. Oh yeah. He did the Ben Casey stuff. That's right. I remember Ben Casey. And just so many great illustrations from this guy, Dead Man, which I've always enjoyed that character. Batman and Spectre. Oh, look at this. Look at all this good stuff. He did an Avengers. Well, there you go. I didn't know he did Marvel. But I guess they're all incestuous, aren't they?
Yeah, Kree Scroll War.
Oh yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah. But I don't know. Anybody have anything they want to comment on Neil Adams?
Let's rest in peace.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
I
about
mean,
it.
legend in the industry, right?
absolutely, dude.
He oversaw tons of epic storylines for DC and stuff, right? Just going through that list.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
it's history, passing us by.
it is. Man Bat. Here's another one. So I actually have the complete collection of Man Bat, by the way. I do like me some Man Bat, but yeah, no, it's like I said, 80s isn't really anything to get so upset and sad about. I mean, he's an old man. He probably hasn't done really any work in quite a while. But it doesn't matter. This dude is important to comic books. It's probably something more I would have talked about yesterday, or excuse me, tomorrow. I just figured I'd throw it up today. But safe journey, sir. Safe journeys. Lost the big one there, man. Anyway, let's move on.
Report. David Zaslav chops down TNT and TBS after shutting down CNN Plus. Yeah, this dude has been hacking
Oh yeah, he
and
is.
slashing.
Oh yeah.
He's out there. He's got his machete and he's just going to town on them weeds. He ain't playing. I like it. I like it. Cut the fat. Streamline it. Let's get these companies back to making quality entertainment, please. Thank you.
No, I agree, and I'm going to read some of his things here. Elrod says Adams is the reason modern comic book artists get paid at all. I didn't know that. I don't really
Yep.
know much about him other than I like his art. I really don't know much about the guy.
From what I read, he fought with a bunch of the companies. I believe the big guys to get them paid for things like likenesses and when their characters are used and things, because there was a time when that wasn't the case
Oh, okay.
outside of the medium. So he's one of the reasons why guys like Ethan Van Sciver can brag on live streams about $50,000 checks he got from DC, stuff
Oh,
like that.
all right. Well,
Yeah,
Ethan likes bragging. Let's be fair.
yeah.
Yeah. But cool. Thanks for the info, guys. I've always known who he was. I mean, you guys know I didn't really start learning about artist and writer names so much until I started doing this show because I love comics and I've been reading them since I was little, but I didn't really pay attention to that. I just read in the comic book. But there's a few names that you certainly know. You certainly know who Stan Lee is. You certainly know who Claremont is, and Kirby, and Ditko, and Adams. I certainly knew his name, but I didn't know anything about him. But anyway, let's
Chester,
get
we're not too far away from having an entire generation of comic nerds who don't really know who Stan Lee is.
that. That's just
That sucks. Yeah,
that's heresy,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. I agree, but it's the truth. About 10 years or so, that'll be the case.
That dude made modern comic books. But anyway, let's go in here. I wanted to read a little bit of what Mr. Zaslav here. Let me make sure I pronounce this right. Yeah, Zaslav. Because what he's trying to do, he's trying to find a way to cut $3 billion.
Yep.
Let me say it again. He's trying to find a way to cut $3 billion. Jesus, these companies, dude. Right?
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of
That's
money,
a
and
lot
then
of money.
how much is he
That,
thinking about leaving? But anyway,
that's nothing. Sorry.
it's nothing.
Apologies. My work life is spilling out.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. Fair. But anyway, Zablas has stated some things. I want to read this a little bit because I think it's very insightful into what he's thinking. And I think I agree. He says, we have no religion about any one platform or window versus another, and we intend to approach each and every decision through a lens of enhancing asset value against a set of financial returns. Our goal is to maximize long term shareholder value and asset value, not just subs. We will not overspend to drive subscriber growth. Our focus is to invest in content and platforms that extend the life and return our global IP or of our global IP and position us to drive greater returns out of each dollar of content spent than our peers and to ultimately drive free cash flow. And we will refine our capital allocations and content window decisions accordingly. Well, shit, man.
My,
Amen. Amen. I
oh
mean,
my, that was a lot of words. He said lots of words in
yeah,
there.
but I can truncate it. We want to
No, no,
make
I understand.
money.
I understand what he's saying. It's just okay. That's a lot to say. Let's see you do it.
Yeah,
That's
no,
that's the thing, and he's trying. He's trying to make slashes where he can. But we'll see. We'll see, because this is also the gentleman who was talking about how they've been underserving Superman, and
oh no, I'm
they're
going to get to that
you know
comment
not
too. But
not
yeah,
utilizing him, and then of course the secondary roster, or the B team and C
right,
team of
right, yeah,
of DC Comics
yeah.
aren't being serviced well at all in their media, in his
But
opinion.
also what
So
he's hiding in there. I don't know if he's hiding it, but he's kind of hiding it through the convolution of his his vocabulary.
yeah,
Is the fact that he's not standing on any kind of pretense of this
mm,
message or that message or anything like that. It's all about, is it profitable? And
yeah,
that's a good thing. He does mention here at the end here regarding Superman, which you were talking about. And I think
Mhm.
it's a good comment. Is it here? No, I think it's above it. Yeah. He said that the comic industry is still running a model that doesn't really work anymore, and that would be monthly comics. That's a scary comment. It could work. Okay. Nobody's saying the model itself is wrong. It's just not working correctly, and it's not working correctly year in, year out. And there's a fatigue. Well, that's not true. There's a lack of competence.
That's true. That's definitely
Yeah,
true.
this right here is another statement from this guy that I find
Yeah.
very interesting because we are seeing that. It doesn't matter of whether you like the news stories or not, or you like the people, but they're just not competent. Because one of the things I've been complaining about for years on this channel is they don't do their research. These people, these
Yes.
new writers and stuff, they don't do their research. They don't know the content. They're incompetent. And
Yes.
it's good that Mr. Zaslav sees that. Although I wonder if he's even going to keep DC Comics in its current form from that comment.
Well, Chester, I've been predicting for a long time that there's going to be a massive shakeup in the way the industry runs. And I think that's what he's hinting at here. He plans on shifting
Hmm.
how they distribute, whether
Right.
that be totally to a monthly model or maybe even to a quarterly model,
Something. Yeah.
bigger books, but in a longer time frame that they can charge more upfront for. But you're still basically getting the same amount of content. It's a little bit easier to do a balance sheet than this weekly,
Maybe.
bi-weekly, or whatever they're doing now. Um, I think that's probably for the best because the sales figures aren't really there to support what they have now. If it wasn't for digital,
Yeah.
the print market would be gone
Right.
entirely.
Well, I
But
know
if
that.
they moved over to bigger books once a month, I think they'd sell a lot more. I know a lot of people who only buy that way. They won't buy
Yeah.
the
Reduce the
individual
content.
floppies.
Yeah, no, I get your point.
Yep.
There's too much, especially Marvel is killing the market. But
Yep.
I don't agree there's fatigue though, because there's clearly not. The European market is absolutely smashing it. They're making money left and right.
Yep.
The Asia market is not only smashing it in Asia, they're smashing it everywhere else. So there's
Yep.
clearly not fatigue. Um, but um, but but yeah, no. So this guy ain't playing though, dude. Zaslav is not playing around, dude, and he's clearly the boss. Now, when's the last time
Yep.
we saw that? That's been a while. I mean, he's the
Especially in this
boss.
medium.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. In this medium, it's been a while since we've had somebody come out here and make very authoritative statements
Yeah,
on what he plans to do when it comes to the business side. We
yeah,
will hear guys talk about what they want to do, the kind of content they want to create. So far, he hasn't even said anything like that necessarily. He's just said we need to do better with what we have, and we
yep,
need to make more money long term. That's basically what he's saying.
yeah,
And we need more competent people or more competence from the people we have overall. So
yeah,
these are all things that I want to hear, even if he ends up, shit in the bed. At least he has the right mind frame and he's willing to
yeah.
say it. Now, I think there's a lot of people in these companies who have the same outlook. I'm certain,
Oh, we
but
know.
they don't come out and we don't hear about it. We
We've
don't
had,
see it. We don't
yeah,
see it, live it.
we've had private conversations that make that very clearly true, right? They
Yes.
they can't speak
Yeah.
publicly, but anyway, just trust that that is a true statement. But here's the thing, though. This guy in this, I suggest you go read this article and some of the other ones by this guy. This Zaslav guy is a pretty interesting fellow, because he throws some shadow shade quite a bit, dude. He's not pleased with incompetent, incapable fools. He does not abide them. It's quite clear. And that's interesting. That could be a great thing. I don't know. Ben, you must have an opinion on this, dude.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on here, right? This is part of the fallout from the split, right?
Yeah,
From Warner Discovery, right? And you got to understand when it comes to business, a lot of what they're doing isn't always a matter of like cost cutting to save money, right? They usually have a pretty decent amount of like, slush fund change, or
sure.
the amount they make is reasonable. But so there's going to be like independent stock for Warner Media, right? And they want to come in swinging for the shareholders. And so a
Yeah,
lot of this is to float the price of the stock at a higher degree for the benefit of the shareholders, right?
yeah. No,
We see
I
this all the
agree. He says that directly, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So we see this all the time. It's a rather toxic part of the stock market and the way it operates, where if you take, company X, and if the analysts say we expect company X to make $10 billion, within this quarter or something like that. Well, if they don't make 10 billion, if they make like 9 billion, they're still making good money. They're still
Sure.
making money. They're still profitable. But then the doom and gloomers say like, oh God, they didn't make the analyst prediction, so they're on the downhill and the stock market tanks. And a lot of these shareholders, a lot of the top executives, they don't get paid in cash; they get paid in stock. And so what
Right.
you're effectively doing is you're cutting out their pocket change, right? And so what we always have to consider are changes like this. It could be a matter of optimizing finances, or it could be a matter of optimizing wallets for the
hmm
shareholders, right?
And
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 so
he's very
it's
clear about that, Ben. He's not
right.
hiding
Oh
that.
yeah,
However,
I know.
there is another aspect to his points that he's made, not just in this article, other ones. He really is not happy with the quality of production.
I think the thing that's been doing the most consistent quality would probably be their animated stuff, right?
That's right.
Uh, and I think that's largely due to too many cooks in the kitchen as
Mm,
far as their, because like if you look at, complain how you want about Marvel, right? But they're very profitable specifically for like their media division because they have sort of a czar in charge of things, right? Kevin Feige,
sure.
and he oversees stuff and he keeps that division very profitable, right? And
Yeah,
so he
though it's
oversees.
not as profitable as it was, but you're right. You're right. Yeah.
It's still very profitable, right? I would argue far more profitable than like some of the DC stuff has
Oh,
been over
I
the years.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's probably looking at like how I would say haphazard their media stuff tends to be, and trying to see about ways to optimize it, and get a more consistency of quality pushed out the door, right? Is what I would consider it, on top of we need to trim shit down. We had a split off. We want to get shareholder prices higher. So it's two birds, one stone type of deal.
Yeah. No, I agree. And you remember what was it, Eichmann? The guy that kind of had the reins on Feige there for a while, and there was a lot of push and a lot of finger pointing and name calling going on. I think it was Eichmann. Isn't his name Eichmann?
The
I think so.
head of the toy division,
Yeah, but he also had control over the Marvel stuff.
right?
But here I've seen a distinct difference between when he did have some oversight and when Kevin Feige was given 100% control. And as we saw with George Lucas is another good example. When George Lucas had oversight on him, he produced well. When he didn't, he didn't. And I think Feige's finding a similar problem. He is very effective, and he's done a great job. But I really think he's the type of dude that needs a little bit of oversight.
I would
Uh,
completely disagree with that, but I think we should save that for another day.
Fair enough. Well, I know, for instance, all this Disney Plus stuff that came out, I don't like any of it, right? And don't even talk about Loki to my daughter; she'll cut you, dude.
That that's fine. I've been cut before, and I'll be cut again. Once again, we're having a gentleman's disagreement. I've enjoyed the majority of the Marvel stuff for the Disney Plus. Not all of it, right? But I've enjoyed the majority of it.
Mm. Anyway, we're not talking about Marvel anyway. But this Zaslav fellow, I mean, who knows, right? Well, we have to wait and see. But you notice I said "Amen," Grimlock, because and I know Thunder agrees with this 100%. Um,
Hmm.
I want people in charge of stuff who want to make money.
Yeah,
That's what I want because they're going to produce the best quality things because they want to make money. And this dude seems to be all about the money. And he's got to help. He's got to take care of his shareholders. He's got a lot of responsibilities. But in the end, he wants quality stuff because that makes more money. He doesn't want to waste money. And I love that dude. That's what I want, right? Because even if I get something that isn't necessarily in my wheelhouse, something that I'm not interested in watching, it's still going to gravitate the upward mobility of the company, which is overall a good thing. We want them to have access money. We want them to try new things. We really want to promote that. And if they are consistently penny pinching and making sure that everything come out is very very quality based, that rises the entirety of all their production. And that's
yeah.
what I want. Now, what do you think about that, Grimlock? No? No.
Um, I think it's only a good thing. Hopefully, it'll be only a good thing for DC because there's somebody actually in charge who's actually concerned with being a profitable business, and being a profitable business means good decisions, decisions that are not designed to piss off the right people, as we've seen too many projects that have come out in the last uh, 5 to 10 years be.
Sure.
Ria's not looking for a new fan base, as Dan Didio once put it, by alienating your own fan base. Just making a product that sells money. Nothing draws money like good product, even
Yeah.
if it's like even if it's not for us. Good
Sure.
product sells.
Well,
So,
I've always thought, Grimlock, that sure, you can't make something that's just for the fans because you're limiting yourself. But you should start out with the fans. It should be the
oh yeah,
foundation of it and then expand from that. And we're seeing we're quite the opposite of that in many, many ways. Ben just mentioned Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige has been pretty good moneymaker over there at Disney or
Oh
Marvel
yeah.
Studios. He's been a really good moneymaker.
Kevin
And
Feige has just been less incompetent in DC.
yeah, no, I agree.
I don't give him nearly the amount of credit he thinks people think he deserves. He doesn't.
Fair enough, and that's
He
probably true of anybody. But my point is, he has been a really good moneymaker. He's kind of stumbled a little bit here recently, but not 100%. See, the thing is, we do complain a lot about wokeness over here and the message, and fair enough, it certainly exists. There's no way it doesn't exist. But if you go and you hear about the complaining of Feige stuff, oh, it's so woke, and then I go and watch it, and it's like, well, it's a little bit, but it's not completely woke though. He hasn't really bit that bullet 100%. He's just kind of filling in the sidelines with it. And you might agree or disagree with that, but it isn't just absolutely out of control. It's just mentioned here or there. The real reason I don't like what he's done with the Disney Plus stuff is because it's not good. That's my issue. I don't even want to talk about Loki. I mean, how stupid was that? The Hawkeye thing. He finally gets a thing, and overall is okay. But I mean, it's a Hawkeye, dude. Do Hawkeye. We don't need Kate Bishop. She failed horribly in the comic books. Why would you push such a failed thing? But anyway, I just don't like. I just don't think it's well done. But anyway, I don't want to get caught up in that. Zaslav, we have to keep an eye on this guy. Interesting.
I'm actually surprised you're going for you want somebody in charge who makes money and not somebody who loves in the source material, right?
Nope.
Because oh,
I've
interesting. Okay.
never ever have I said that.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind, Ben,
well,
I'm the only one over here that has ever defended Kevin Feige. Understand that, and you can feel the tension of attack coming at me at this
I
very
mean,
second. You can
hey,
feel
I'm
it.
here with you. I will
Um,
defend Kevin Feige too, so you're not
but
alone anymore.
no, well, fair. Thank you, Ben.
well,
Because
I'll say this. There's the reason why I think that we're not going so far over somebody who's championing the source material, because let's be frank, most people in Zaslav's position probably doesn't give a fuck.
and nor does he even
They don't.
necessarily know, although he clearly likes
They're
Superman.
yeah, they're businessmen. Those guys, anybody successful at the level he's successful, that guy doesn't have time to read comics. If he does it, it would be a pleasant surprise. But nobody should be holding their breath for that.
Right. Yeah.
I
No.
hear you
But
keeping
like,
Cavill as Superman, which is a good choice. Smart.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I agree with that. But the reason why, Ben, is because if someone is pushing for excellence, quality, and profitability, in the end, like I said, it not necessarily everything I'm interested in watching, but in the end, it's going to increase the viability and the quality of everything, right?
Mm.
And I think
Well, I
that's
would
really
say
important.
it'll increase the chance of that being the
Yeah,
case because
yeah,
there's no way to guarantee something's
no,
going to be good. But if somebody has that mindset, most likely they're going to end up picking people who can make that thing.
right,
Even if they particularly don't have a love for it, is largely irrelevant. As
right,
long as they have a love for making quality, they will find the people that can make it quality. And the fact is, a lot of these characters in these stories the reason they exist at all is because they come from a place of quality to begin with, or at least they've had moments of great
Right.
quality.
Sure.
So if you just find somebody who respects that and then can translate it in a competent manner, like I don't know, Peter Jackson, for example. If you
Sure.
find somebody who really, really loves it and respects it, that's all you really need. Whereas the people at the head of the studio that, the Lord of the Rings, I don't think it was a passion project for them. They just knew it was a big moneymaker, potentially. Whereas
Right.
for Peter, it was obviously a passion project.
Sure. No,
When it
that's
comes
true
to
for
actually making the individual thing, yes, I want somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I want somebody above them who can rein in when they try to spend too much money, or they try and waste money, or they try and do something stupid, because then most likely what they're going to do is that level of competency expounds, right? A rising tide raises all ships.
Sure.
And if that person at the top is very confident, they're going to they're going to drag everybody else up with them typically.
Right. But
And it's a better dice roll, is what I'm saying.
yeah, no, that's
If you
fair.
have somebody at that head of the ship.
And too many executives can also be troublesome as well. I mean, so it
Yes.
is a nuanced thing. But if you take something that's, say, actually woke, I mean, there's something that's pure woke, like, say, She-Ra, right? The new remake
Oh
of
God.
She-Ra. Well, I mean, that's pure, because we say Disney Plus is all woke. Not really. But She-Ra's really woke, right? And the thing is, that was the person was hired because of their identity, not because of their skill. It was an absolute disaster. It pissed the fans off. It was a complete utter failure. It shouldn't have got the amount of seasons it got, other than them pushing their wokeness. And with a guy like this, that would never happen. Right?
Or
Because
that
it
Batwoman
wasn't
show.
popular. Well, see, the
Whoa.
thing is, if they made it and it was popular, lesbian She-Ra was a thing, and even though she's 12, if it was really popular, fair enough, right? But it wasn't, right? And so
Well,
things like
She-Ra
that
was
don't happen under
also
this kind of guy, is my point.
She-Ra was also a huge bait and switch because there's a video the couple of YouTubers that put out about the pitch Bible for that She-Ra show, and what was in the pitch Bible compared to what they got is a huge fucking difference. It is way
Probably. Yeah.
The person who was put in charge of that, Noel Stevenson, just wanted to write a lesbian fan fiction to herself, which somehow she convinced the people at Netflix to fund, where she got to write her lesbian fan fiction at the expense of a long-standing fan base.
Yeah, and it pissed him off too. But I mean, sometimes
Hugely.
idiots do idiot things. Like, for instance, if you guys remember, and this is not related to wokeness at all, but if you remember back when Kitty Pryde came out, now I'm sure some of you are old enough to remember that, because I was absolutely infatuated with her as a little girl, a little boy, because she was
A little girl.
she was
Whoa.
so sexy. But anyway, she was a little kid. She was what, 14? 13, something like that. And they put her in a love affair with Colossus, who was 20 something, right? Dope. And that's ultimately why they didn't keep them together or get them married. Is because someone realized, hey, you do realize she's like a kid, right? Right. And so the idiots over there at Marvel weren't paying the frick attention. They said, ooh, cool, let's hook her up with Colossus, which I agree. I really wish you were with a Colossus. Of course, now they made her lesbian. Of course, everyone's gay. The whole world, 99.9% of all humans are gay. That's the way it is.
That's right.
But these idiot mistakes do happen all across the board. It isn't necessarily just in the wokeness. And some guy like this being in charge, he's not going to allow that crap to move forward, because he's very pedantic and maybe micromanagey. I don't know. That can be troublesome too, though.
I was about to say, it's very cute how much faith you guys are putting into this system. I find it endearing.
I'm not putting faith. I'm saying I wonder, Ben.
I was thinking more to Thundero and Grimlock, but no, I understand where you guys are coming from.
I'm not putting that.
I will hope nothing but the best for everything. Is all I will say.
That's true. I agree with that.
The key part of what Zaslav is doing is, in that article, it said he's looking to cut $3 billion.
Yep.
And if I'm at the lower levels of any of these companies, my ass is tight enough that if you put a lump of coal between my cheeks, I could squeeze a diamond right now.
I bet.
because you already know, you're looking to cut that amount of money. The first fuck up in any of those companies is going to be the first on the chopping block.
Yeah,
And
it's true. Yeah,
you
and
know, we're talking about making quality product. Well, all of these underachieving companies beneath the head, they're looking up and hearing this guy's looking to cut $3 billion. What do you think they're going to do?
It's not
They're
going to
either
be
going
the
to step their shit up or they're going to be the first on the block,
margins.
right?
say it again, Ben.
And
It's not going to be the worst fuck up. It's going to be the people with the worst margins.
That's right. Yeah,
If
that's
you
true.
cost, 5 million and you're only bringing in 5.5 million, right? And this other group costs, 4 million
yeah,
and they're bringing in 8 million. They can fuck up as much as they want. They're not getting cut because they're profitable.
Fair.
That's not how
Yeah.
that works at
And
all.
and let me
yes,
add
but that
another
I
aspect to
understand
this.
that.
Let me add an
But there's
aspect to this, Grimlock,
but
before you continue real quick. I'm making an assumption here, but I've been
mhm.
reading several articles about this Zaslav guy, and I feel that what he actually is doing is he's taking everything and going to put it on HBO Max. They might even retitle it. I wouldn't be shocked if we came out with a new name for HBO Max. But he basically wants to move everything into a singular streaming service. I think is what he's doing.
Makes
So
sense.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
but
Well, yeah, but
I
they've
really feel
overplayed.
that.
They've overplayed their hands with the freaking streaming services, and it's coming back to bite them already.
Yeah, but
Mm.
But
Warner Brothers just got a mammoth library, dude.
yeah, but I'm just looking at, and I'm not even saying so much as faith because I've already had my bridge burned with that when CB Cebulski replaced Alonso. So don't take this as me being a positive or putting any faith in it. It's more cautious optimism than anything. I mean, my dream scenario is to just start putting heads on pikes, figuratively,
Oh God.
there's a
Okay.
and
lot
and
of
and
like
and
this.
sweeping out, the underachievers because they already know they're not making money. You've seen enough of them to know that they don't make money.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No, I get it,
what
dude. You know,
at,
and
at,
but
at best you can hope that the thought of losing their job will at least raise their quality.
right. Um,
The threat of it.
right. And but there's also the other side of it though, because like for every one of these things we're hoping will happen, you also get a Firefly. Which would they should have continued that and let it go because look what it
Yeah.
turned into. But nevertheless, interesting. This
I'll
story
say,
keeps
I'll say this:
developing.
Firefly shot itself in the foot with its stupid theme song. The
Oh
song was
God,
terrible.
fine. You
Ugh.
and theme songs.
You
Uh,
can't. You can't. No, it's important, Chester. One of the main reasons why Star Trek: The Next Generation was successful was its theme song. I don't care what
it did
anybody
have a great
says.
one. Well, you know where that theme song came from?
A brilliant person,
Motion picture.
clearly.
It came from Grimlock. You impressed me. It does come from the motion picture, sir. Good on you.
True.
I was
Yeah.
being snarky. I knew that too,
Yeah.
Chester. God.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a great theme
That,
song.
that to me is still a great moment using that song to when they was revealing the Enterprise in the
Oh yeah.
movie.
Oh
Still a
yeah.
great moment.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
But there's an
That
example.
it should that kind of thing should feel that way all the time.
Right. Well, now that
Yep.
movie, the motion picture, Star Trek, the motion picture, is a perfect example as fan love of the fandom, because that movie
Mm.
is 100% made for Star Trek fans, and one of the reasons why it did so poorly is because most people are like, yeah, where's all the blowing up shit? Because
Mm.
that's pure Star Trek science fiction. Is freaking beautiful, but the average moviegoer doesn't get it, right? But anyway, let's move on because we'll be here all day. Now it gets ugly
Oh
now.
God.
We're shifting gears. Just so you know.
Megan Fox admits to participating in ritual blood drinking with Machine Gun Kelly.
Okay, now
What?
hold on a second.
What
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
the fuck?
Why do we keep coming back to these weird Satanistic stories in Hollywood over and over? Now, to be fair, they're all Saturnist, no matter what they call them. Are they secret Mithrins, or the Calabites or Cinnabites or whatever word you want to come up with? But in the end, they're all Saturnist. I get it. I get it. But
Yep.
damn, man, we keep getting these kind of stories continuously, man. These freaking screwed in the head Hollywood people. Now, fair enough, she's a hottie. She's a mega hottie, but damn, dude,
Mm.
What
like
do you mean fair enough?
Like, listen, you can drink all the blood you want if you're hot. All right, that's the rule.
No, it's
We all
not.
agreed.
Well,
That's why we made vampires hot. You
Well,
see,
dude,
because it's fine
another
if they're hot.
another blood drinker, Angelina Jolie, right? Another one,
Oh
right?
God.
But okay, so weird, pretty weird. Who the hell is Machine Gun Kelly? I don't know. But
You don't want to know. You don't
No,
want to
you
know.
don't.
he looks like an idiot.
He
However,
is.
this is just yet another weirdo, creepy, Satanistic story coming out of Hollywood. Another one,
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a little thing because this lady who told us to avert our male gaze, by the way, don't you dare.
Oh my God.
She, Olivia Munn, is not there for you to wank off to. She's not. She's a human being. She will
Oh.
drink blood out of either end of Megan Fox, though.
Yeah, I wasn't
Oh
reading
God,
that,
you're
so I'm
talking
glad
about,
you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
So
ugh.
talk about. I think what's the word that comes to my mind, Ben? I think it starts with a hit and it ends with an e. Hypocrisy. Oh, there's the word. I found it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of them.
Um,
That's one word to describe this person. That's
this
one word.
idiot. She's so stupid. And it was all
Well, that
scripted too. So you know. But
yeah, that just further proved that that whole thing was fake. Well, but then
yeah, it
again,
was
she
fake.
was she played the sexism card because she was getting called out for her bullshit. That sorry bitch has been a train wreck everywhere she's been,
Yeah. No.
and it's not good.
I didn't notice the Photoshop.
I know it's loved. I love it, dude. But the thing with it is really she's
Oh.
incompetent is the ultimate issue. They tried to twist it and make it into some sexist thing, but she doesn't know what she's talking about. Once again, people who aren't actually researched in their job. They don't really know their job. She's another example of it because that was the ultimate complaint about her was that
That
she
is
didn't
an
know what she
ugly
was talking about. Had nothing to
cat.
do with her sexuality or any other stuff, and they were getting a lot of heat, and they decided to kind of put that scripted thing out to make her, you're all a bunch of beards and frickin' basements. But more
Well,
important
the
than
other
any
thing.
of that is why the hell does Megan Fox want to be a Kardashian? Don't do that. Your
It's,
aspirations are
oof.
much higher, my girl.
Hey, Chester, do me a solid. I just say, get that shit off my screen.
I love it. It's awesome.
Another thing though, Chester, is it kind of what you're saying kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, that a lot of this stuff where they lean into the messaging and things
Yeah, yeah.
is to cover up competency flaws.
Yeah, no,
right?
that's I
It's
think
because
exactly what it
it's
was. Yeah.
easy. It's easy to get claps, literally in that case with Adam Sessler and his really weird long claps that he was doing,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was very off-putting. It's easy to get that if you preach a certain message, especially in those circles. So I think that's a lot of what that was there. It was, this whole thing has been a debacle. Let's try and get some clout this way.
Yeah, but
And then obviously, as you see, she's a complete and total hypocrite because
she is.
apparently
Of
it's
course she
okay to
is.
want to suck all of Megan Fox's holes, but if you as a man want to suck Morgan Webb's holes when you were 14 years old watching G4, you were a terrible
It's
monster.
all
How
about
dare
the
you?
Olivia Munn. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, Olivia Munn was after me. I
fair,
was younger.
fair. But anyway,
I would take Morgan.
but the thing with this girl particularly here, in her hypocrisy, which might even be forced hypocrisy for all we know, she might have been just told to read that. We don't really know. But however, the thing with it is, there are plenty of gamer girls who actually know their shit. Why
Yeah.
hire this one who doesn't? I mean,
know.
what's the point? Because there are gamer girls who really love games and they know a lot about it. I've
Yeah.
seen them. And I'm not
And some
talking
of them
about
are
the
hot.
thoughts on Twitch either. I'm talking about actual gamer girls. So why hire
Some of
this
them are
idiot that
actually-
doesn't know shit?
Some of them are actually really attractive
Two
too. So you
words,
think
rainbow
visual
flag.
medium? Yeah, that's probably it.
You think it's
'Cause
that simple
ticks
though?
she ticks the right check boxes and
She's
she knows
simply
somebody.
a dyke, and therefore that's all that's
Yes.
needed.
That's
No,
pretty much it.
Probably.
Can't
Yes.
be that simple, dude.
No, there's plenty
Dude,
of
you do realize Vita Ayala has gotten 20 comic jobs on the premise of brown and queer, right?
Yeah, no, I understand.
And
Mag
she even
Visaggio
admits
is
that.
another
That's
She's
example.
one of
I
the most
get it, but
untalented people in comics history.
no, I understand.
Yes, it's totally possible. All you got to do is wave a rainbow flag. I mean, look, you want to move up, just bring in one of those flags to
Yep.
work tomorrow and
But
see if you don't get a promotion.
yeah, but I get your point, and you're not wrong. But on the other side, you have Kelly Sue DeConnick, right? Now she's
Mm.
absolutely abhorrent, just
Ugh.
annoying shithead of a human. However, she can write, dude. She's very talented,
Yeah.
right?
That's
I loved her
debatable. I've
Wonder
seen
Woman
her
run.
pitch Planet script.
Well,
I know
a
she's
lot of even
insufferable. I
our
get it, but she's really good.
even the people a lot of people really revere let's just stick with comics that are really really good at their job, whether it be art or
Like
writing.
Gail
If you
Simone,
talk
right?
to them,
Yeah.
if you talk to them for 5 minutes, you would just find them insufferable
Yeah.
because they're just insufferable people on a personal level. Even if, put politics aside, they're just not a pleasure to be around. They're not personable, and they just don't know. Some of them don't have good hygiene.
Well,
Things
Max,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
But
and our boy Dan Slott looks like he hasn't bathed in about 10
True.
years. So
But I mean, the point I was just trying to push back a little bit because my point is there are annoying humans that are actually very talented at what they do. That's what I'm trying
yeah,
to say.
that's what I'm saying.
But I
Yeah,
mean, there are plenty of annoying girls who would have the same take on that she does, I'm sure. But actually know what they're doing. I don't understand why this one, because I've heard her speak. She doesn't know anything, dude. She how in the hell do you hire this person? They're
she knows
completely
somebody probably.
maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
a lot of this stuff is very much about who you know, not what you know.
That's fair. It's always been
Very
that
much.
way. That's always been true.
Yeah.
I know I hear Ben boiling.
Actually, I mean, I don't know.
It's rainbow flag. She's been a train wreck everywhere she's been. Every place she's been fired for She's been fired for
Yeah.
starting
No,
shit in
this is
in
a hack.
general
She's a
incompetence.
hack.
It's
She
not
is.
it. Yes,
Yeah, no,
there are
she's a hack.
like I said, like you said, there are plenty of qualified females or hell non-females, whatever, that could have easily held that spot and would have been just fine.
Sure.
But because of the flag, certain people get to fail upwards. She was one of them.
Yeah.
I know some people will say, "Well, it's not that simple." Yeah, sometimes it's just that simple.
Sometimes it is. Yeah, that's true. I'm sorry.
Just
Go
like
ahead.
the token black guy they had on G4.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just
that
that
guy.
simple.
Yeah, but he knew what he was talking about, though.
Who
turned out to be a total creep?
Yeah, no, he
Who
did.
turned out to be a total
a lot
fucking
of them turned out to be creeps, which kind of is in line with our story here. There's a lot of creeps working in Hollywood and entertainment. But he did know what he was talking about, though.
And to get back to the original thing as being the token non-white here. What the fuck is wrong with you white people and drinking blood? The fuck is you gotta
Not you white people. It's just a few very strange ones. I don't know.
Hey, I've
Grimlock,
myself
that was very
weekends,
racist.
so
so
do it on the weekends.
Have you
Only
ever
of it.
tasted a young woman's blood, Grimlock? Have you ever tried it? You don't know until you try. Is what I'm saying to you.
not on purpose. Not
No!
on purpose. If I ever did,
Whoa!
it was lying.
Alrighty then. All right, that was Grimlock. Always remember when you see the little string, don't pull it.
Oh God! Oh no! I want to apologize to the Academy. Oh no!
Oh, that's shit, man. Go ahead, man. I know you want to. You're trying to get it out.
I mean, I don't watch G4 that much, or if at all, so I don't really have much of an opinion. She might just be talent. Sometimes they just hire talent. There's nothing totally wrong with that per se. I mean, like the only host I'm really familiar with on G4 is Austin Creed, because I love him from wrestling. I think Xavier Woods is a very endearing person. He truly has a love of gaming, all things gaming. He does tabletop gaming. I've seen him in multiple streaming D&D shows and stuff like that. So like he's the only host that I'm like, this is obviously somebody who just
Great.
Yeah, I'll watch anything with him in it. So as far as like them just hiring talent, I mean that's not completely unheard of within the industry. It's kind of how it goes sometimes. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't watch G4 that much, so my opinion of this is not really high.
Yeah, that's
I don't
fine.
care.
Well, the problem is she's not talent. That's the thing I was making, which they could have hired someone else who had the same, fit the same profile block that they wanted for her. But she just really
Who's
doesn't.
Who's that fucking talentless hack who had a career for far too long?
Oh
That
God,
was
there's so
like
many.
host of like this dude who was on like MTV.
Jimmy Kimmel.
No. He had a
Oh,
show.
what was his name? He hosted. You talk about TRL and all that shit. He hosted all that.
He was on
Um,
MTV, and then he's had like late night shows, and he's had other things. And
Carson
Conan
Daly.
O'Brien.
Carson
Oh,
Daly.
Carson. Oh my
Carson
God, Carson
Daly.
Daly.
Yeah,
I
he's
forgot he
talented.
existed.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that was.
I don't get upset about stuff like this simply because like Carson Daly had a career when he absolutely should not have. There was
It's true,
nothing
dude.
in here.
It's true.
And yeah, so that
Well,
I get what you're saying. Like it's the wokeness and blah 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 blah. But like,
see,
there's
see,
nothing.
there's something we can universally agree on. Carson Daly sucks
Yeah,
moose
but
We
knuckle.
all agree.
my
Well, no,
my point.
see, I'm not, Ben. It isn't about the wokeness. It's about they could have found another girl who actually is very knowledgeable about gaming that also has
Yeah.
that box that they're trying to check, right? They're trying to
The problem
fill.
is the people hiring these people don't know anything about gaming either, right? Like a lot of these production people
Maybe,
That's true
don't know
too.
anything
maybe.
about gaming.
That that that's true too.
Yeah,
Right. So
That,
like they're hiring
that,
talent and again, I go to Carson Daly. Like why the fuck did Carson Daly have a 20-year career?
dude,
There's
he has
nothing endearing.
he
He has the
knows somebody.
personality of oatmeal, right?
Yeah,
Like
I,
I think more interesting things out of my belly button than Carson Daly, right?
fine.
wait, hold on. I'm loving this because this is the first time I've heard Ben be passionately dislike anything. So I'm hearing like Palpatine, let the hate flow through you. Nice.
I mean, I don't hate. I try to be a pretty balanced guy, but every time I see Carson, I see like dead eyes on him. It's like somebody invented a robot to be a fucking TV host, and we all just like
Oh
bottle
wow,
up.
yeah, he has very good eyes.
He
Holy
has dead
shit,
eyes.
dude.
Like, what is that smile?
They
That
even
is
put the light right in the perfect angle just to try to get some sparkle, and there's still
Well,
barely any life in those eyes.
Yeah.
so. My
well,
point
Wow.
is
well.
that
See,
like,
I know what it is. See, the lore is they tried to clone Dick Clark and failed.
oh god, yeah,
Oh, Dick
right,
Clark is pure
yeah.
charisma.
But
But
so
yeah,
that's my point. Is
Exactly.
that the
yeah.
people hiring for this hiring man, speaking as somebody who does hiring myself, and I have to hire for a very specific set of skills, and then the candidates I get applied to me from a hiring manager has no fucking clue what I'm looking for and
Mm,
doesn't understand the specific stuff I'm giving them. I can totally understand how people get mishired for positions they shouldn't have, and it can happen anywhere. Is all I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah. And that's fair. That's fair. She is a bit of
Yep.
a mystery to me though. But I get your point. This is a good point. Poor little. I don't know what you are, dude, but yeah, you do suck. All right, let's continue on here.
Sorry.
But
Oh,
the thing is, so we went from blood drinking to loving to drink someone else's blood, even though we're not supposed to look at the sexiness of someone, and now we have more.
Doctor Strange actress and husband. Wait, oh boy, this is Trent. I knew it. I didn't have to look. I knew it. Doctor Strange actress and husband face multiple charges of sexually abusing young girl. Husband, there's a comma. He can use them. Husband faces additional charges. What the hell?
Another
What is going
example.
on in Hollywood?
I know, dude. We keep having these stories all the time, and it's this lady here and her husband. And understand, we're not talking about this thing where people get upset about 16, 17-year-olds because it's stupid. They're old enough to make
Hmm.
decisions, even though it might not be legal in all states. However, we're talking
Yeah,
about a 13-year-old, right?
yeah,
And
that's
over years, and we're not talking about little sexy comments. No, we're talking about in-person sexual abuse, right?
jeez.
The real deal, right? And the shit they did. I'm not going to read the article. You read it if you like. But this woman needs to be in jail, and her husband too, because yeah, you leave the kids alone, you frickin' Hollywood. They
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know what kills me? She's actually a good looking woman. You could get a ton of fucking young dudes or
Young
some
women.
early 20s lesbians. What the fuck?
Yeah,
What the fuck are you
that's
doing?
not her and her husband like
Like
are
you're
freaks,
highly
dude.
paid. Your husband's highly paid. You can.
Yeah, they're doing this stuff together.
I
Her
just
and
don't
her husband are
understand. See,
doing
like
this together. Yeah, it's not
you
separate.
it's
and you
kind
can
of like
clearly afford the top shelf shit. What the fuck, man?
Uh,
what was it, Jeffrey Dahmer? I think it was Jeffrey Dahmer. One of them in like that time frame was a really good looking guy. I think it was Dahmer,
yeah.
and it was the same thing, right? He kept like abusing women and all this stuff, and doing all this kind of crazy shit and killing them and stuff. And there was a whole bunch of people. I remember I've even heard women in my family say, "I don't understand that. I would have had sex with him easily because he was good looking." And it's the same thing. These people are just their brains are fucking broken. Like
Yeah.
there's
Well,
real no coming back from it. To
sure.
be honest, once
And
you go to this level of abuse, you're done.
yeah,
As a
and it's
human.
really
There's
bad
no.
if you want to read the article. And I get your point, but the thing is, why do they gravitate to Hollywood? Because we keep getting
I
these
don't
stories
know.
over and over, especially with pedophilia, blood drinking, Satanistic various aspects. We keep getting them over and over. The only other place in the world we see this consistently going on is with the aristocracy of Europe, right? And they're
Mm.
doing the same kind of shit. But it's like as if
Well,
Hollywood's a magnet
my,
for them, dude.
my well, my theory is,
Hmm.
the theory is, considering that they say, what, 80 to 90% of sexual abusers was once abused themselves.
Probably,
I
yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if all of these people in Hollywood, that was the first place they experienced it.
Maybe. I don't know,
Because
dude.
there's something there. Like you said,
Something. Yeah.
it's a magnet. Because you can't just imagine somebody growing up on a farm just all of a sudden turning out that fucked up once they get to Hollywood.
No, no way, dude. Yeah, because what they
Like
did to
it,
this little girl is pretty rough,
I'm
dude.
not saying
Um,
that people who come up in small rural towns don't come out fucked up, because they clearly do.
sure.
Yeah.
But it's just there's so much of it coming out of Hollywood.
But
Now, is that simply that there's a bigger
there's something
micro?
going on there.
Well,
Like
it
they
feels
just
so, but is it just we have a bigger microscope on Hollywood? I don't know, but I will say Trent. I don't know if Trent puts the production in here with photos and stuff, but there's way too much Mads Mikkelsen faces in there just because she happens to be in the background. Don't be mean to Mads. Don't you do it. Stop it,
Great
Trent. Anyway, but this lady here, what's her name? Her name is Zara Pythian. Well, that's interesting.
That's
The
a name.
well,
That can't be a real name.
her name is Zara Mark now with her husband, but Zara Pythian, Living Radiance. That's an interesting name.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a fake name to me.
Well, I'm just saying that's what it translates down to, Living Radiance. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, you can read the article if you want, but for me, I just don't understand why we keep getting these articles over
I don't
and
know,
over
man.
and over and over and over. So many scumbags. Now, this one's a little different because it's a female, and we've only had a few of those, other than the blood drinkers. But it
Well,
tends to be a
a
lot of
few of them
more
in Hollywood,
men.
anyway. There also was the big sex cult that got busted,
Oh yeah,
the Nexium or whatever it was called.
the small little
And
girl. What was her name?
yeah,
Oh yeah.
Zoe something. She was
her name.
involved.
Can't remember. I always used to think she was really hot too, and I'm like, oh crap, what the
She's
hell?
cute.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it does keep happening though. It's very strange. It's not usually, at least doesn't come out anyway. It's not typically women involved in it. It's usually men. At least in that area. In other places, there's a lot of women involved, like in schools and stuff with young boys.
Yeah, no.
But
Well, technically, statistically, women tend to abuse young under 18 much more than men do. That's true.
yeah,
But it's because they tend to be around them more. But anyway, Hollywood is a messed up place, dude. It's a messed up place.
yeah,
And the thing that gets me, and going back to the Zoe thing, because this is part of that, you have women bringing in young girls to be abused, just like with the whole thing with that dude who did not kill himself, Epstein. Can I say his name now? Am I allowed?
yes,
And
yes,
Maxwell got convicted, from what I understand. She's doing the same thing, bringing little girls into that environment. Of course, most of them were actually 16 or older, but whatever. And the interesting thing come out of the Maxwell case is none of the people in that book have been arrested. I haven't heard anything. You guys?
no, no. They sealed all the records of that.
Yeah, yeah. Because I
Uh,
wonder why.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Funny that.
yeah. Funny.
I think we all know
Allison
why.
Mack. Thank you very much, Eric.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
my name, Allison Mack. Yeah.
But another woman helping to abuse little girls, man. It's fucked up, dude. But whatever. That's the world we live in. Blood drinkers
Sadly.
and pedophiles. Blood drinkers and pedophiles.
How about we just make a rule? If you drink blood and hurt children, you just don't get to live anymore. Can that be the rule? Can we
Yeah,
have that be the rule?
I don't think
Does it have
drinking
to be
blood
in
is
that
technically
combination?
illegal. I'm sorry, what was that?
No, it doesn't necessarily have to be in that order or in that
Okay,
combination.
just
Yeah,
want to make sure.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like a reasonable rule to me. I don't know. Call me a crazy right wing extremist, but that sounds reasonable to
Yeah.
me.
Now, I don't know why the husband would face additional charges at all. They should both be getting equal amount of charges, although we know how that goes. But I'm going to move on from it. This was my dark section. But again, here we are again. Anyway, moving on. Fun
Terrible.
time.
Titan announces new partnership to publish new Kamen Rider stories. That's good. That's a
Okay.
good thing.
Now, I put this up here. I could have had this here yesterday, of course. It's comic book related. This is talking about comic books, not actually anime, right? Manga.
Yeah.
But I put it up here because I was kind of curious. Well, one of the, I think Somali or somebody had put it in, so I like to grab what people put in. If you guys have any suggestions on stories, just drop them in the Discord, and I do look at them, and we'll pop them up here. Kamen Rider is something that's been around a very long time. And it's basically kind of interesting. The original idea. This is made for kids. It's the anime anyway. It's for little kids. But the idea that the original Kamen Rider was actually kind of like Captain America super soldier, created by a villainous corporate group. I think they were called Shocker or something like that. But he escaped them and became their biggest enemy. That's interesting, right? And Kamen Rider has gone on. I don't even know how many iterations they're up to now. But it certainly has been very popular here in Japan. However, is Kamen Rider big in the West?
No.
No,
Yeah,
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
have
say
thought
it's big. Definitely not big. It has a following, but it's not big.
Right.
so. Yeah, so they trying to maybe kind of push Kamen Rider in the West, maybe.
I hope so.
Possibly. Possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'd be fine with
I
that.
mean, it's. I would say it's more popular with the older age group like us who are more aware
Yeah.
of that. But I think for younger kids, nah.
Well, this article talks about something else as well, which I'll get to in a second. But if they, well, there another thing that popped in my head that I don't know when I was looking at was the treatment they gave to Power Rangers, because Power
Yes.
Rangers came out much late for me, and it was a kiddie thing, and I wasn't interested at all. However, the comic book they came out with, where's that? What company is that with?
Boom
Boom.
Studios.
Boom, yeah, Boom. It's really quite good, and it's not kiddie at all.
Oh, it's so good.
It's
It's
really
so
good.
good.
No.
So
Yeah,
I'm wondering if we're going to get similar treatment here for Kamen Rider.
I hope so. I very much hope so. Yeah, that Boom series completely, in my opinion, revitalized the entire franchise for
It
Power
did.
Rangers, and
Yeah.
they're getting ready to make a whole bunch of stuff based largely off of it.
They
I
are.
believe on
Yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah, that's true.
Hopefully they are. We don't know if
Netflix is in trouble. So
Netflix is in trouble. But yeah, no, that was very good. And if this gets the same treatment, I'll be all about it. I'll be all about it because
yeah,
I think it's another one that hasn't been served well, at least in the West, in a very long time. And it would be nice to see. I think it would catch fire a little bit. It might not be the biggest thing in the world, but it'll make money. It'll make them some money.
yeah. No, if they do if they give it the Power Ranger treatment, I think it could be interesting. Interesting.
Yeah,
Keep in mind that common means masked, so this is a
yeah.
masked rider. So that's what
And he's
that
got
means.
a cool suit. Like it's just cool.
I always thought it was weird
I,
with all the insect aspects to it. I never really got that, but whatever. It's like I said, it's a kids show. My kids watched it. But anyway, so it looks good. The art looks good. Hopefully, it'll be interesting. But here's another thing that's coming through Titan as well. Adam, the beginning. Astro Boy.
oh yeah,
Yeah, well, they're going, of course, this is with the Japanese original name, Atomu, not Astro Boy. And this is before he gets his skin, I guess. But it kind of looks interesting. Now, this is another question. When I was a kid, I'd never heard of, Adam or Atomu or Astro Boy. I'd never heard of it, right?
yeah.
Until I came over here. Is that something that's more well known now with the younger folks?
I would say no. But again, it could be it could very well just be they're trying, they're taking some old stuff and trying to
Right?
revitalize it and refurbish it a bit for the
Why not?
West.
Marvel and DC and Image are screwing up left and right. Why not take advantage of it, right?
And Astro Boy is
Yeah.
perfect for a Western audience. Perfect.
Yeah, it could be.
Because it's
Yeah.
very, it even sounds like a superhero book, right? Astro Boy. So you could do something really cool with that, especially if it's the origin where before he becomes the mighty Atom, which is what it actually was in Japanese.
Right.
Before he becomes all that, and then lead into it, and then do like a run of it. That, yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah, and they are doing volumes here, so but it looks like they're kind of pushing toward trying to make something out of it with Stonebot and Titan here. But
Yep.
because a lot of these manga can be quite bloody and rough, where in the West they would never be allowed for a kid to read it, but here in Japan they're less picky, right?
Mhm.
But I think it's cool. For them to try to take Japanese product and try to push it in the market. It's doing well. Manga is selling well in America, and they might as well. You know what I really want though, because we've been talking about a lot of stories like this where manga is coming over. Manga is coming over. Okay, fine, that's fair. It's fair, free market. They should try to make money. I want to see more stuff come out of Europe though, because they're making some really cool shit over there, dude. But we're not seeing a
Yep.
push in at all from Europe, and I don't know why, because they're
I
making
think it's
money.
I think it's just a lot of it's very like esoteric. It's not very. A lot of Western comics, especially, are very formulaic, and that's why a lot of people don't like them. Um, and I think I think it's just lethargy and fear. They're afraid to take the chance on it. But going back to Mr. Eggers, as he becomes more popular, and maybe we're going to enter in a cultural era of weirdness, because we haven't had one in a really long time where weirdness is kind of the zeitgeist of the day,
Yeah, 70s,
and you
I'd
start
say.
getting a lot of you start getting a lot of weird stuff put out there, just kind of just psychedelic and esoteric, and you can't really necessarily tell everything that's going on. It makes you think, that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
that's
And
cool.
a lot of that European comics are like that. They're very like, whoa, like they're a mind fuck. So I think that's probably more of it than anything else, because in Europe they're slaying, right? They're obviously killing.
They are making good
But
money, yeah.
I think it would do fine. I think it's just corporate fear
And
more than
that
anything,
and
right? They
then
don't want to take a chance.
the European stuff's more adult oriented anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's not really kid
definitely.
oriented. But anyway, I just thought it's cool. Yeah, awesome. Bring more stuff over, see if it hits. And they're doing these things in volumes, and it's clear that they're trying to see if they can get a hook on it. Maybe they'll put out new stuff over here. So cool. If you guys are interested, go check up Adam the Beginning and Common Rider, Kuga. Anyway, moving on here. This is interesting, and I like it.
Ah, yes. This is makes me smile. Can you hear the smile in my voice,
I
Chester?
guess.
After collapsing ratings in a failed fan campaign, the CW scraps woke Batman show. Thank
Yeah.
the Lord.
No, it
I
was
think
bad.
I saw like one or two of the episodes had like 100,000 or less viewers. Like, what are you
Oh
doing?
no, much less than that, dude. They were really doing
It's
bad. Um,
ridiculous.
now the show is horrible. It's woke crap. It's just absolutely horrible. But the thing is, it's a shame because Batwoman would be a cool show if done right.
Yep,
It would be
that's the
because
key right there, though.
well, now I understand that because she's not Batman. She's not, right? She's different. And she does kind of fit the model where you want to push more diverse things and therefore her being a lesbian. I mean, so it has that
Right.
aspect to it as well. But it could have been really cool. I've read many Batwoman comic books and I like them, right? So it's a real shame what they did with this. The first season they had that little scrawny thing that the only thing I've seen her good in was when she was a mute and didn't speak in John Wick. Because she's not a very good actress, dude. That's a problem, And I understand there's budgetary constraints, but and then this girl right here, it just wasn't a great choice. Of course, I understand she's a replacement, but this show is just all about. It's only about being a lesbian. It's not about being Batwoman, and that's
Well,
the mistake.
they also continued the ginger side.
Oh yeah,
They
no, it's
replaced
true.
a redhead with a black woman.
Well, she has
I,
a
I
red
don't
wig
know.
though.
Yes, I don't know why they keep doing that, but it's so obvious. Like, I don't know how anybody could see the constantly they're doing it and not say, why do you keep doing it? Like, it's a very weird thing to get caught up on. Specifically, they take a redhead, a ginger, and or somebody with very red hair and replace them with somebody who's black. Why? Why that exact combination all the
Yeah,
time? It's
I
very
know it
odd.
is weird. It is certainly something weird going on in Hollywood, but with that respect, because it is true. But I understand it's a bad show, so it's gone. And whatever, there's a lot of bad shows that come and go. I just think it's a shame because Batwoman could have been cool.
I think
Uh,
it was kind of doomed from the beginning, unfortunately. And I know this is going to shock you guys for like the first time ever. I'm going to kind of join you on some of the wokeness lamenting about this. Not quite from the degree that you're going to probably think of, but like I remember this show first came around, and I have some younger friends who are more into the woke side of things. And do you know what they complained about the most on this show? Like when it first came with when Ruby Rose was the headliner on it.
really bad acting and bad writing.
Nope, they complained
No,
she
that she
wasn't
wasn't
Jewish.
lesbian enough.
No,
What?
they complained she wasn't
Uh,
Jewish.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
that
and
was a
Wow.
complaint. That was real. That
It
was really.
was.
as somebody who is of the heritage of that, I was like, huh?
Uh,
Are you worried there's not enough Jews in
is she
Hollywood?
really not Jewish? You're right. Of all places to worry about that, I think they're doing okay in
I
Hollywood,
know it's
guys.
kind of weird, but now Ben, are you actually of the tribe of Judah, or are you just from a Hebrew descendancy?
Hebrew
Ashkenazi.
descendancy, right?
Yeah.
So if
Well,
we've had this conversation
everybody
because like,
on here, including half of Grimlock, are from
well,
Hebrew descendancy. All of
well,
us.
no, it's hold on,
Nine.
like it's a little bit closer down the lineage on my side from my father's side. The reason I don't count as quote unquote Jewish because my mother wasn't, right? It
Yeah.
follows
Right.
the mother's heritage,
Dude,
right? But on
we're
my father's side
all
from the
part of the tribes. They all come out of the Albion tribes, dude. All of it.
okay,
If
we're
you are
all
white, you are Hebrew.
we're all
Sorry.
black, we're all
No,
Hebrew.
we're
I
not
get
all
it.
black. Only Grimlock is half black.
That's true.
It's true.
Anyways,
Yeah.
No, she really isn't Jewish. I didn't know that. I figured she was. Because a lot of times, what the actors will do when they go by like a Rose or something like that, they've changed their Jewish name,
Oh,
more
sure.
Jewish sounding name to something like that. So I just
right.
assumed that's what she did.
And so I feel like maybe there was a degree of overcompensating for one specific, identity ideology to compensate for some of the backlash of that weirdness that happened in the beginning. So it's kind of
Hmm.
unfortunate, but like
Sure.
that was one of the ones where I have my more progressive friends, and I'm just like I listen to their complaints, and I'm like I tend to have a pretty open ear for some of these things, and I heard that and I was like I don't know guys. this is
Of all
this,
the
Well, yeah.
places.
Well, the thing
this is
is,
what we're going to complain about.
the thing with it is, you don't have to be Jewish to play a Jew. You don't have to be gay to play a gay. Look at Modern Family. The I can't remember his name, but the big old dude. He's not actually gay. You could tell because he
Hmm.
was so cliche. But you don't have to be a thing to play a thing. It's not
Right.
necessary. The
That's
whole
why they call it acting, for Christ's
That's
sake.
right.
It's
Well,
literally the point.
But I'm not going to
you
defend this
understand.
show. I know it's crap. I understand that. I'm just saying that it would have been nice to get a cool Batwoman show. That's all I'm saying. Because I would have watched it. I
That
wish
show
we
was
got
a
a good.
train wreck from the first
It
trailer.
was, but so
I,
was
I think if you
Supergirl.
want a cool Batwoman show, the best place for that to happen would be animation. Honestly.
Maybe.
I just think it
And
would work better.
there are some
Look
good
at
ones.
the pretty much every, well, not every, but a good number of. I'm not even going to say most because I haven't seen most, but a good number of the Batman series are pretty strong. Especially the one everybody loves and everybody will love until they die, the animated series from the '90s.
Sure.
I think DC's animated division. We were even talking about this earlier. Ben mentioned it. Is the only place where you're getting consistent quality when it comes to DC Comics material. Even the comics aren't consistent as the animation studio is. So I think if you want something really good with Batwoman, that's where we should want it to go because
Yeah.
whoever's in charge of that, whoever's been handling that for the last 20 years, has been doing spectacular.
Yeah, that's true. We got
That
some
is
good things out of
Alan
that. Yeah.
Burnett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the Supergirl came out, and that wasn't good either. It could have been. Of course, then again, if you're going to do Supergirl, do Earth 2 Supergirl, Power Girl. That's what you do anyway. If you want to do a standalone Supergirl thing or Kara L, well then frickin' do Power Girl because she's much more
The
independent and
problem
cooler.
is Chester, is then you have to have boobs, and they don't like boobs anymore. They're
Well, you
against
know
them,
what I
it
mean,
seems.
though.
'Cause,
The Earth 2 version of Supergirl is much better way to go
yes,
if you want to do a standalone.
I
Um,
agree because she's got great boobs. Yeah.
okay, fine. She's not just about her boobies.
I don't
But
know. Not based on what Thundera is saying. It seems like he's interested in one specific aspect.
that's
I
fine.
do enjoy the boobs. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
She's
not
an
gonna sit here and pretend.
she's an entrepreneur,
No, she is a pretty
Thundero.
cool character. I've actually advocated why they don't do more with Power Girl. It's she's a Kryptonian, so she's very Superman esque, but she does have her own twist to it,
Well,
and I think they could do something really cool with her. That Supergirl show largely just tried to make Superman but a woman,
yeah,
and
no,
that's
it
why I didn't
wasn't
like
good.
it.
It was it's CW though. But
Yeah,
now Ben, I'm pretty sure they brought Power Girl the Earth 2 version over during Infinite Crisis, didn't they? She's in Earth 1 now, isn't she?
Power Girl?
Yeah. I think it was Infinite
Oh, you mean
Crisis
in
they
the
brought her over.
comics? You mean in the
Yeah, yeah,
comics?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Totally. I was like, I don't
Yeah.
remember her being in the Crisis TV CW thing, but
No.
uh,
In the comic book, I'm pretty sure
yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah,
in the same world now. There's two
oh,
Karas,
yeah,
right?
totally. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with Brett in the chat. He volunteers to do more with Power Girl. I do as
Fair,
well. Yes.
fair.
Yeah.
You guys in your boob windows. All right, fine.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah,
I like boobs.
I'm glad
I'm
it's
not
gone.
ashamed of it.
Yeah, I'm glad it's gone, but I gotta really they missed the opportunity here, dude. Anyway, moving on.
I agree. Keanu Reeves and director Chad Stileski, I think is how you say that, teased John Wick Chapter 4 is much different, will include, quote, a lot of cars. I
Now,
don't know if I like the way this is heading. I don't know if
well,
I like the sound of that at all.
I do appreciate Trent using a lot more grammatic punctuation, though.
He's discovered that it's possible, that
Yeah.
it's actually a thing that can be done by humans. Yes.
We pick on Trent over here quite a bit, Ben. Just so you know.
Oh, I can tell from the last
Yeah.
several
But we should get him on the show actually. But anyway, first John Wick, freaking awesome. Second John Wick, pretty good. Third one, okay. I
Yeah,
actually rather liked Halle Berry in that. She was pretty cool.
she was fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she worked her ass off for that. You could tell. But anyway, I get from this article, which is simply just getting from an interview with Keanu and the director, I guess, or a producer or somebody. But I get from what they're trying to do here, and I don't know. I think it's going to depend on what it is you like about John Wick, because what it seems
Yeah.
like they're doing in this movie is they're trying to expand the world. And I'm all for that.
More?
I think it's a really cool more. Yeah, I really think it's a cool world that
Hmm.
they built there, and they want to expand on that more. So this is not going to be like the first one. It's going to be much more of him traveling all over the place. A lot of car chases. Of course, you'll get plenty of the fighting with Keanu, and he does good at that. But I guess the question really is, are you guys? I'm sure we'll get Carfu Elrod. I'm sure. But are you interested in just kind of keeping it basic, John Wick kicking ass, or do you like the idea of expanding this already kind of
Hmm.
interesting subculture world of this underworld that they have?
I'm gonna real quick. I think they run a risk of, if they explain too much, they
Mm,
ruin a lot of what makes that movie special.
that is
Because
fair.
I think what makes that series of movies so good, so interesting, is the fact that the world is very similar to ours, but also very different, and they don't really explain everything. Like, some people had a complaint in the first movie that they didn't explain anything, like the coins or any of that stuff, and now they've gone on and they've explained where the coins come from, and they explained, more of the structure of this organization and things.
Hmm.
And the more you do that, you take away mystery. Now, obviously, if you're going to keep doing sequels, it's kind of inevitable, but they just have to be very careful. Is what I'm saying. They have to be very careful with how deep down the rabbit hole they go, because eventually you get to the bottom and it's still just a rabbit hole. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
No.
lose a lot of the special uniqueness of it
Yeah.
if you
That's
do
why we
that.
don't need to know the Joker's real name.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't. What do you think, Grimlock? No. No.
Is he there?
I'm kind of with Thundaro.
There.
It's you don't want to you don't want to kind of take away you don't want to take away what was cool about it to try to like explain everything. It's kind of like, if you have to explain the joke, then the joke isn't fucking funny anymore.
Well,
Right.
they now
Um,
keep in mind they could mean simply Grimlock that they're just going to show the Continental in other places, like they're going to France and they're going to Berlin in this movie, I guess. So just seeing different places that the underworld syndicate
yeah,
is involved, maybe.
like, yeah. I mean, that can be cool, but I mean, John Wick for the most part is kind of a simple movie.
It
Like,
is.
I mean, I don't know how far like into that they really want to go, or if they can. Like,
Yeah.
But it looks like they're trying. What do you think about the idea of this, Ben, where this movie's really about expanding the universe more than it is just John Wick kicking ass?
Well, I mean, it's the fourth movie. I mean,
Yeah,
it,
fair.
isn't Keanu getting too old for this shit? I mean, I know Liam Neeson's been doing this for like fucking ever right now, and he's still doing the action films and stuff. But like, it's the fourth movie. I mean,
yeah,
like,
he's doing Taken Part 10 right now.
yeah, right. So it's one of those things where like you run out of like shtick, right?
Yeah,
And so all it is them trying to come up with new shtick to keep the franchise interesting, right? I
Yeah.
honestly would be interested in other stories in the John Wick universe, right?
sure.
Of other characters and stuff like that. And one of the things that like I got really frustrated with is John Wick started following like the vampire problem, right?
Yeah,
Uh, and you know what I mean by that, the
yeah,
vampire problem? Because like I forget which one it was. Like I think it was the end of like number two or maybe even number three, where they put a hit out on John. I was in the end of number three. They put a hit out on John, right? He violated like what some of the rules, so they put a hit out on John. And that whole text went by, and then like everyone in the park, literally everybody in the park got it, and they all started like doot, 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 like, oh, I got the hit on John Wick, and I'm like, wait a minute, if everyone in this world is an assassin, like, what the fuck does it matter? Like you can't have
fair.
everyone in the goddamn park get the text that there's a hit out on John Wick. That's just stupid. It's the
Yeah,
same problem that they had with the Underworld movies,
yeah,
where like the first Underworld movie was cool because there was humans, and longer the series went off, there were no more fucking humans. It was only vampires and werewolves, and you're like, wait. If everything's a vampire or a werewolf, like that doesn't make any sense, right?
right.
So I'm already kind of poisoned, I guess, as you can tell, like about the series, because I feel it's already kind of gone off the deep end a little bit.
Yeah,
So it's just new shtick is all it is.
maybe. Yeah.
Did really like I can't remember his name, the Asian guy in the third movie though. He was awesome.
Oh
What's his
yeah,
name?
I mean, but like yeah,
Those
he's
are
been
the
off.
uh, those are the
You know,
raid guys that have been doing all the choreography and of course
Yeah,
the John
yeah.
Wick and other movies. Yeah.
He
Uh,
was fantastic. He's one of the best characters they've had in that whole franchise. I like the fact that he just the thing that I think this series gets correct, which this is what I'm afraid they're going to lose, is John Wick is almost like this mythical figure in this world, right? Like everybody pays reverence to him. Nobody talks back to him because if they do, they get murdered with a pencil, right?
right.
So he's got this aura about him,
Which is cool.
and which is very cool. But the problem is when you start to explain more and more and more about him, he loses that aura. So I'm afraid as these movies go on and they keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper into the world,
Mhm.
we start to lose a lot of that focus on John, and we lose that John is special feeling, and he's just part of the world now. Does that make
well,
sense?
no,
Yeah.
it does a ton of sense, and I think the other problem. Do you ever see Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So they start
Oh
running
yeah,
into that problem. Remember the beginning of the film? They were like, "That was my second favorite cousin," and it's just like,
Yes.
what?
Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
like, how
Yes.
Yes.
does John Wick keep finding the motivation to be the badass? Like in the first film, we totally get it. We totally
Yeah.
understand, and it makes a lot of sense, and we're with them. By the fourth film, it is very much coming to the they killed my second favorite cousin. Bam, now, right?
Maybe.
It's like,
But do keep
and
in
you're like,
mind where they left it, though. However,
I
now
know,
the
Yeah.
motivation now is to tear it all down.
Yeah.
I
That's
guess.
very
Which is
different.
fine. I think that's an interesting way to take the story because I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting it just to be a nice, neat little thing, and he just
Yeah.
rides off into the sunset in three. I actually thought three was going to be the end,
Mm.
and then obviously it wasn't.
Money,
And
money, money, money.
the problem with the ending to three is it's kind of the same thing. So they needed a motivation to make 4. That's the only reason the ending to 3 happens the way it does.
Fair.
And the fact that he falls off a building and just apparently is fine is ridiculous, because this movie series has been at least tangentially grounded, right? Meaning he's not going to take a bullet to the head and survive it. He's not going to get stabbed in the heart and just live. That's just not something we expect to happen, because it's not happened with anybody else yet. He just fell off a building. Now anything can happen. Now there's no
Yeah,
more rules.
That's
right?
true. Captain Canada says the guy in John Wick 3 was Jimmy Lee, Double Dragon movie in 1990s. He was also a la cuisine in Iron Chef. Uh, but anyway, I'm going to bring a little sacrilege into the conversation, if you don't mind.
Real quick before you do that, Chester, I'll be right back.
Okay. One thing I do love the series. First one was great, and like I said, I've enjoyed all of them, but the first one was really, really good. However, I never understood why he is Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is an old crone female witch who lives in a house that has chicken legs.
Oh, that's been a complaint for a long time, that it's a mistranslation of like what is the boogeyman in Russian, right?
Well, it's not Baba Yaga.
No, I understand that, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
like one of the things where like when they have like hackers like on TV shows and they're just doing like two finger typing, and it like drives me fucking nuts,
Oh, right,
right?
right, right, right.
It's that
Well,
stuff,
I mean,
right?
actual hacking isn't very exciting to watch, Ben.
Not at
Sorry.
all. No.
Yeah, so but I don't know. I'm certainly gonna watch it though. I know that.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully it doesn't suck, because this is a great fun IP. And I agree with you, Ben. There's so much. I'd love to see a movie called The Continental.
Right.
Right, that's what I want. But I don't
We
know that
had
we're gonna get it.
that one movie that was inspired by this. It wasn't set. It wasn't directly set in the universe, but it was inspired by this universe. The the Night Shift or something like that. It was like where the a place where they could like anyone could like pay money to go get like healed up by the nurse, and it had like John Batista as like the orderly or something like that, right? I was like, was it Jodie Foster? I think who was like played an older version of herself. That was kind of a fun film.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No.
All right, I'm back. And what I would like to see, if they're going to, because they had talked about doing more in the universe, right? Doing more shows or TV or movies or whatever. I would like to see young John Wick. I would like to see him in his prime. I'd like to see
Sure.
some of the, because we've seen, if you're going to expound on the character and if you're going to do that, then let's do it. Either don't do it at all or go all the way with it. Don't half-ass it, because then you killed the mystery and we got nothing out of it. I'm out of breath because I was running. But the so like we've heard about, that he got out and he had to go through basically this big trial to get himself out of this, right? He had to do this insane task. I want to see that. I want to see that happen. I want to see what this insane task was.
Oh yeah.
Just
That'd
because I
be
think it
cool.
could be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But anyway, I just thought it was a fun little bit to take a look at here. So I guess we should continue along and bring this back up. So, but anyway, yeah, keep our fingers crossed. I guess he seems to be excited about it.
Rumor: Amber Heard's Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom screen time is less than 10 minutes. It
Okay.
should be 0 minutes.
Well, here's the thing with it. Like I said before, and I know you guys don't like it, we all know that she's much more of a scumbag than Johnny Depp. We get it, right? But him proving that in a court of law is very difficult. It just is.
I
Even
think he's
though
doing a decent job.
I think he is, and he could win it, but slander is hard. And
Yeah.
good on him, because she definitely did screw him. So fair enough. However, we spoke about this before. Rumors of recasting. If it's only 10 minutes, they can recast her easily, very easily. It's going to. I mean, well, it costs money, and you get Jason Momoa in or whatever. But if it's only 10 minutes, then just recast this girl, man. Just cut her out of it. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Because
I
it's
don't
going to hurt
understand
you.
why she still has a job, in all honesty. I mean, same with Goat Boy. whose
Ezra,
name
yeah.
just escaped me.
Ezra
Ezra. Yeah,
Miller.
I don't understand what is it. Apparently, it takes at Warner Brothers to be a very well respected and well paid actor, and then have somebody accuse you of things and controversy come up.
Well,
Because otherwise, if you're a hack or a barely known like these, like Hurd and Miller, well, then you can just apparently do whatever the hell you want, and they won't ever fire you.
I guess
So
so. But blood drinking, child pedophilia, and
yeah,
bed shitting. These are qualifications for Hollywood, it seems. But no, I mean, they really, really need to just cut her out of the film. And I know for us comic book guys, for those of you who have read it, Mira is a pretty cool character, dude.
yeah,
I definitely want more Mira. I don't need Amber Heard. To be fair, before all this shit came out, we knew who she was. I thought she was a fine choice. I had no
yeah,
problem with her whatsoever. But this is just going to hurt you because everyone knows what's going on. It's the it's the big thing everyone's watching. And of course, Johnny Depp has an absolute mountain of fans, dude. This is going to
yeah.
hurt your movie really badly.
He's an icon. I mean, he
Yeah,
just genuinely is. And there's no win condition here by keeping her around.
yeah.
What is the win here? That people on Twitter might not call you misogynist? I'm genuinely asking, why does she still have a job? Why is she still being put in these big budget things? I don't understand it. It doesn't make any. If you can get rid of Johnny fucking Depp
Right.
over allegations that were untrue allegations, why can't you get rid of her over actual things that she is a court of law is
Because
saying she has done with
she's a
evidence?
protected
Like,
class. That's why.
Because believe all women, and it took what 7 years for people to actually believe Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
for most people anyway. I
Well,
believed it right away
That's
because I
why.
look at Johnny.
That's really what it comes down to. I know some people.
man, we lost him. But
I believed it right away because when I look at Johnny Depp,
Nope, I'm here.
there's nothing about this dude that screams to me that he's capable of the things she was accusing him of.
No,
Now I
he's
could be
super
wrong.
laid back
Absolutely,
dude.
I
Yeah.
could be wrong. But I mean, we've been knowing Johnny Depp his whole life. He's not that guy. He's never been that guy. If he was, we would have heard loads of reports of it by now. Like he's been a public figure for 40 years, for crying out loud.
Yeah. No, I agree, Dave.
There,
That miniseries was good. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
it's just silly. It's just silliness that people immediately accepted it as gospel truth, and that is a serious cultural problem that I hope with this
Well,
trial here
it's not
can
new.
start to be corrected.
It's not a
Oh,
new
I know it
problem.
isn't,
Yeah.
but it's
But
a serious cultural problem.
but
Well,
here's the thing. What I would like to see, it personally, I wouldn't mind to get a Mira movie all by herself. She's a really cool character, and therefore they really should recast her with someone who can handle a movie by themselves, which I don't think this girl could do anyway. What actress today could play Mira in her own and hold her own in a solo movie?
I can tell you who a lot of fans are clamoring for. You probably won't like it,
Yeah.
but there would be a bit of a sweetness to it, and there's a lot of fans asking for Emilia Clarke, simply because she has a lot of good on-screen presence
She's
with
not a bad
Momoa.
actress. She's pretty.
Uh,
She's a pretty good actress.
I have no
and
idea who that is.
She's ugly as sin, but I mean, she's a pretty good actress.
She's not ugly as sin.
Dude, that
I wouldn't
girl
say
is
she's exactly gorgeous,
she's
but
alien.
she's okay.
That is an alien freak from the planet Zikabub that has come to suck our blood. I guarantee it.
Oh
My
God,
point-
it's possible in Hollywood.
my point being though is that she has a really good friendship still with Jason Momoa. Her and he got really close. They were good friends on the Game of Thrones shoot, and there would be a very sweet sort of roundness to her being recast.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry. I was thinking of a different actress. Okay, I'm sorry. I was wrong.
yeah, and so that's who a lot of fans would like to see, and I think that would be kind of cool. Bring her
Yeah.
in. Her and Jason are, like I said, are good friends, and there is a lot of chemistry between them, and that would it would So
No,
that's
I get
who
that choice. I get that.
I'm for.
The only real
She does have a
problem.
nice smile. I'll give her that.
Yeah, no.
I appreciate a nice smile, and she's got a nice smile.
Yeah, okay, now I'm on board who it is. Yeah, no, I get that. The only problem is you would really need a good director because she's not the best actress. You would need someone who really pull a good performance out of her. You know,
Yeah. Well, that's the case for Jason too. Let's be honest.
that's fair. No, that's fair.
He's not moving mountains with his performances. He's very much he looks real pretty type of guy. But he's a competent actor. I've been following his career for 20 years, and he's always been competent in basically the same role all the time. But still, he does it well. Um, so I just really want another Aquaman movie because I liked the first Aquaman movie. I thought it was too long,
It's way
but
too long. An hour too long. Yeah.
other than that, it was surprisingly good. I was shocked at how well Momoa did with that character, even if he's a race swap. But at least for me, that one's less egregious. One, because he's a big star, or at least he was after Justice League and things, and two, because it makes sense culturally. If you're going to swap races around, Polynesians into Greek, that works. They're both very nautical people. That makes total sense to me. I don't like it when it doesn't make any sense, when it's obviously just done like that Jarl in that Viking show. That black Jarl, that black lady. What? It doesn't make any sense at all.
So you're talking about Amelia Clark.
Yeah,
And she played Daenerys, right?
she did.
Yeah, okay, I know who she is. Yeah, no, I don't have a problem. Why'd you think I would not like her?
I don't know. I just assume you hate all actresses for some reason.
Why? There's plenty of actresses I like. I think she's not a great actress, but
because I only see it's observational bias because I only see you like complain about them. We don't hear the upside. We tend to through this venue. We only tend to hear the downside.
That's
So
fair.
That's
fair.
an observational bias.
No, there's plenty of actresses I like. One of my favorite working actresses right now is Emily Blunt.
Yes, yeah, she's great.
I like Emily.
I do. I like Emily too. I like her husband as well. They're both good people. They seem like.
I will join you guys like on the Brie Larson hate wagon. I'm not a big fan of hers. I really wanted Blake Lively in that role because I thought she would have had a lot more fun with it and been a lot more appropriate.
I think Emily would have been Emily Blunt would have been a perfect choice, actually.
Actually, no, I'll go with that too. I think Emily Blunt would have been a perfect choice as well for Captain Marvel.
Yeah. But anyway, we don't know what they're going to do. But if it's only 10 minutes, man, just recast her because this is going to hurt your movie big time, dude. Literally.
Yeah, you're already doing reshoots. This is a train wreck. If you're going to minimize her, just go get somebody else. You're just wasting time. You're wasting production time this way.
Yep. No, I agree. But we'll see what happens because this court case, whether Johnny wins it or not, is certainly in public opinion, Amber Heard is lost. That's for damn sure. And I do remember the only thing I heard negative.
7 years.
Well, yeah, it took a long time. The only negative thing I've heard about this Emily girl, and I think she'd be a fair choice for replacing that, is she complained about having to do nude scenes, and everyone was like, "Oh, well, it's in your contract," and I was like, "No, that's good because she doesn't look really good nude." So I was kind of all for it.
There was Thundero I was waiting for it.
I knew it was going somewhere I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting to there, but I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I'll be here a week. But no, that's a fair replacement, dude. Yeah. Yep.
At this point, you could almost do a race swap, and I'd be happy. I just don't want Amber Heard anywhere near this movie because I want to enjoy it. And if I see her, I'm gonna just get angry because it's just she should have been fired. Simple as that. You cannot permit this kind of behavior in any business. If somebody makes a false accusation and does material damages to a person, even if a court doesn't say so, everybody knows she did.
Yeah.
You just can't tolerate that at any level in a company. There's no room for that. There can be zero tolerance. And the fact that they're clearly tolerating it is disgusting to me. Yeah. It's very disgusting.
It's a real shame that she's a psychopath because she is perfect for Mara, dude.
She is.
Physically, is a real shame, dude. And her acting was fine. It was no problem with it, dude. But whatever. We'll see how this all works out. But I don't know, because the first Aquaman, they really needed to cut over an hour out of that. It was way too long, dude. But we'll see. Anyway, continuing. Our favorite dude ever.
Oh, God. Director Alex Kurtzman explains what he learned from, quote, his biggest failure, end quote, 2017's The Mummy.
Okay. Now,
That is Alex.
Then he thinks that's his biggest failure.
Buddy,
I know.
Schmookum, darling, sweetheart, that is not your biggest failure.
No.
It's a big one, but it's not the biggest failure.
Well, see, here's the thing. As far as just sitting and watch a movie, I didn't mind this movie so much. It was I mean, I could sit and watch it and eat some popcorn. I mean, it wasn't the mega disaster that everyone said it was. But it's nowhere near his worst disaster. My God, dude, Kurtzman, now, and this is a good thing. I chose this because everyone here agrees 100% that Kurtzman sucks balls.
No complaints here.
Yeah.
But this guy, he's so out of touch. If you read this article, because this is kind of quoting him from an interview. This guy, he really thinks he's grown and he's really a superior Hollywood person now.
Oh yeah, he's superior. He's a superior something. A superior something.
Yeah. But
yeah, he's grown from a bigger failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So you can go watch and read this article if you'd like. Of course, it's making the comparison that we're dancing around, of course, Star Trek. And it gets into it pretty deeply and throws lots of daggers. But Kurtzman is really, really someone who needs to go away. Along with Bad Robot and his big daddy Warbucks, Jar Jar Abrams. All of them can go the hell away. Just go away.
Please.
Just go. He doesn't have a
go make your little art house movies. Just go away. Go away.
He doesn't have a single movie that he's been a part of that I liked. Not one.
No. And that's a good point, Alan. He did screw up Zorro too. You're right.
Yeah. It's like it's almost like he's a hitman for Hollywood. They bring him in when they need something to get screwed up for some reason. Like, listen, we don't want to make this franchise anymore for X, Y, and Z reasons. We'll get Alex on it. He'll take care of that. He'll take care of that well. He'll just clean that right off our plate for us.
But don't you guys think it's strange that he picked this? This is his words, not the article writer. It's his words. That this is his biggest failure because out of all the stuff he's made, this is the least troublesome thing.
Chester, he sees Star Trek as a success. He thinks he's winning over there. That's what he thinks, genuinely, in his brain, that he's doing well.
True.
Did you guys hate the Mummy?
No.
Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Nothing wrong with that movie at all. Not a single fucking thing.
Oh God,
dude. Don't even. But what was it that everyone hated about this movie anyway?
He wrote it? You know what I hated about it? It didn't have my boy in it. Didn't have Brendan in it. That's all I cared. That's what I didn't like.
He's way too old.
But at the time, Brendan was way too old. What are you talking about? Didn't it have Tom Cruise in it?
Yeah, but Tom Cruise looks more like 38.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Brendan Fraser at the time was in nowhere near the health to be in a movie like this.
Definitely
all
not.
Messed up. But that's what turned me off on it because I love those Brendan Fraser movies. Those are some of my favorite movies.
They are fun.
Yeah, they're just great.
Yeah.
And I wasn't interested. Plus, I think this was the one they were planning on making a whole universe out of these old monster movies. No, thank you.
But they had failure after failure. You had Dracula Untold, which wasn't great, and this movie was, I don't know, it had some good things, but it just didn't flow.
It was very forgettable. That was its biggest problem. And those Brendan Fraser Mummy movies are the opposite. I think most people, if you've seen them, you at least remember them, right? They're very, very memorable. Like they play them on TV all the time for a reason. At least they used to. I don't know. I don't watch cable anymore. When they did, they play it on TV all the time.
Right.
And it was one of those movies that both of them. I mean, the first two especially. The third one was kind of meh, but the first two especially, I could watch them at any time. If they're on, I could just just watch them or even ignore them and do something else just in the back. They're those kind of movies to me.
Right.
Whereas this movie is the complete opposite. It's just so meh.
It's unbridled meh, but I mean, it's certainly watchable. But this is the third or fourth remake of The Mummy. If we go back to, who was that? That's not Boris Karloff. Was it Boris? No, it wasn't. Who was it?
The first one?
Yeah.
No, Karloff.
It wasn't Boris. No. It was the other really good makeup guy. Damn it! Someone's got to put it in this. Put it in here. I know, but anyway.
Think Forrest Chat.
Yeah, Please, chat, help me. But the thing with it is, it's all about the resurrection of Imhotep and how he's going
Yeah,
about trying to get his love back. That's the story, right? And
that's
they've
right.
retold it, and this movie did it differently. The love is the one brought back, not Imhotep. And I guess in the end, spoilers, Tom Cruise becomes the Imhotep, I guess, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
it's
mean,
very
become
weird.
It is
yeah.
weird, but whatever. Kurtzman, please just retire.
Just go away. Just
Help us.
please take your money and run.
You,
You've done enough damage.
you,
Yes.
you know what the wild thing is about this dude?
Hmm.
He actually had some good writing credits on his thing if he actually wrote them.
Wow.
He was a writer on Hercules: The Legendary Journeys. He was a writer on Xena Warrior Princess. He was a writer for Alias, Fringe,
Well,
Sleepy
yeah,
Hollow.
here's the question though: what episodes did he write of those shows? Because some of those episodes were just
Good question. I
horrible.
can look that up.
Yeah,
Some
but
of them were pretty good, but some of them were just, especially Xena. It
right,
was so hit or miss.
it
It was
was. But
ridiculous.
then again, where's the oversight? There was probably a lot of oversight over there as well, right? And
Yes,
that's the when these guys get freedom is really we start seeing correct chinks in the armor. But anyway, was it Lon Chaney Jr.? Hmm,
maybe. I'm trying to remember. Not see Chester. You see what you've done to me. Now I'm going to have to look.
please check it out. But anyway, I wanted to end today by talking about just the insanity that's going on because I try to pick things in with a certain flow, and I try to I think about how I put together the articles we talk to and in what order and stuff, right? But look at what I had to deal with today. I just want you to know. But so I got stuff on Johnny Depp. Okay, of course, we talked about that. I got the new Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness featurette exposes one of Kevin Feige's biggest lies. It's kind of
Nice.
true. It's a little bit of clickbaity, be honest with you. Stan Lee, nice. I could have talked about that. Maybe I'll talk about it tomorrow. Probably will. Of course, continue on about the Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman movie, which isn't going to happen anyway. But we got, of course, they've fired someone who was their communication director, and they've hired an more insane person. Perfect. Good going, Disney.
No, yeah,
Uh,
it's Boris. You were right. It's
it is.
Boris
It
Karloff,
was
the first
Boris
Mummy
Karloff.
movie.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Fine. Of course, the new there. We got to get a new Batgirl movie. Of course, it would be a black Batgirl because of Commissioner Gordon. But I guess that could be okay. But once again, redheads. Then nothing but hate. More
Yep.
manga stuff. We talk about that. We talk about this. And yeah, okay, where is it here? Oh, yeah. Bill Burr on Gina Carano's firing, how they're just outraged idiots. Of course, we know that's true. Some more stuff here from Nintendo. Some Sailor Moon stuff. Okay, alrighty. But let's see here. Dead by Daylight, a little bit of thing. They're going to have their, they're going to take their first LG. Well, my God, how far is this going now? LGBTQIA2 plus. What the hell is all that stuff? Why can't it
It
just be
sounds. It
homosexual?
literally sounds like an old video game cheat code. That's what it sounds
It
like.
does, dude. Why? What the hell? Let me see. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersectional, asexual, two, twin spirit.
I don't know. I probably don't want to know,
It
to be
keeps
honest.
growing, Ben. You understand these people. Explain it.
Two spirit. The 2+ it means for two spirit.
Oh boy.
It's
Nice way to say retarded.
so,
They're retarded.
so the vast majority of people in that world will also agree that they dislike the alphabet logo.
Yep.
This is mostly just businesses catering to them. The same thing with the Latin X thing. Anyone who is in
Oh,
that
yeah, that's
community
dumb.
hates the Latin X titling, but
Yeah.
it tends to come from an externality. So, yeah,
Comes from
that's my
fear. They're afraid of saying the wrong thing, so they just say that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why I can't just say homosexual. I don't
It's just
get
be
it.
easier. Or just why can't you just use queer? Queer covers everything.
It
Why can't it
does.
just be? Why
I
can't
think
it be
most
queer?
people are pretty okay with queer or just doing LGBT or something like that.
No.
right?
Yeah.
You don't need to get just throw the whole dictionary out there.
Yeah,
So
no,
I think,
it's insane. But whatever.
It's,
Dead by
it's
Daylight.
become its own sentence. It's silly. It's
Yeah,
silly.
but
well, it's becoming alphabet soup,
it
right? But
is.
again,
Yeah.
It is.
the vast majority from that community aren't requiring this, right?
No,
It's
of
a
course, most
yeah.
homosexuals are not noisy at all.
Yeah.
But that, we're not
It keeps
talking about
growing because
them.
most people just won't say no. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
it's like I
Just
said, it
because people
comes from
won't say
fear.
no to the stupidity.
but
Well, yeah.
Dead by Daylight's very
It's like
proud. They got their first gay character, so sweet. Okay.
Lovely. Everybody's excited. Can't you tell?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am. What's wrong with you guys?
Yeah. Okay. They alter some of the Japanese Japanese dialogue because it's probably just not proper. We talk about they've lost this G4's dead. Okay.
Yeah. Again.
Shazam! Fury of the Gods leaks claim Wonder Woman is in the film, but it's
oh,
not Gal
Uh
Gadot. I
oh.
wonder who it is. I wonder who it
Uh
is.
oh.
It's the Linda
It's a
Carter, I'm
guy.
sure. No, it's Linda Carter.
I'm
Yeah,
okay with that.
yeah, you
Linda
remember?
Carter, even in her age, still looks amazing. I'm
She
like, geez,
does,
Linda,
dude. Yeah,
the
she's
genetics on
impressive.
you.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Okay. This is great. I probably got to do this one tomorrow, so I won't
Oh
look at
God.
it very long. Okay. Once again, something for kids. Everyone loves it, but now a lot of parents aren't going to let their kids see it. What a shame. It's supposed to be Buzz Lightyear anyway. It's about Buzz Lightyear, dumbass.
No,
Oh, that's a sad thing right there. But anyway, it goes on. The insanity goes on. John Leguizamo is having issues, which of course. But look at the freaking insanity. Child drag star. Someone needs murdering.
Yes. I now that I agree with.
No, you get this. GOG to offer paid menstrual leave for all menstruating employees. All menstruating employees. CG Project Red, really? Considering the same policy? Are you out of your freaking mind? Women have been menstruating since before we were
yes.
human, dumbasses. What the hell is
Literally.
wrong with you? For
no,
what?
they do
What
that.
does? Hold on, I gotta-
Hold on.
hold on. What does for all menstruating employees mean? What does that mean?
It's fear.
We have a couple of mentally retarded people who think because they got on some hormones that they can have a period, and because
Yep.
people are afraid to say no, you need to seek professional help. They're afraid of being called some kind of isterophobe. So rather than being called an isterophobe, they tell these clearly fucking deranged people, "Oh yes, it's totally okay to say that you're menstruating, in spite of the fact that it's physically impossible being born the way
I
you were."
think that's more
This is
geared
what
towards
happens when you don't say no.
that's more geared towards trans men than it is in the degree that you're talking about.
Yeah, but
I
what he said would happen as well.
Then you're still a damn woman.
Yeah.
You're still a
But
damn woman.
that's
Then
not even
I
the
don't
point.
care. I don't
Hold
care
on.
what pencil beard you draw on.
We're gonna go down the whole
That's
spiel
so
on
weird.
this.
Well, no. Here, that's not even what pisses me off about this title, guys. What pisses me off is, what are you talking about? You're getting paid leave for your monthly.
So you get a week off a month? What the hell?
What the hell, dude?
I
Women have
would
been
never hire a
working.
woman if I had to do that. Ever.
No, I'm just saying, women have been working and dealing with this their entire lives, forever, millions of years, literally. What in the hell is this nonsense, dude? This is so stupid. Do you think women actually appreciate the idea that they're so weak and pathetic that they need to get special treatment? Is that really how you think women think? For fuck's sake, dude.
Feminists do.
Well, he said women.
Until it's time to
Sure, I know
Yeah,
your
but
point,
I
but
was
you're
hoping
not
that
going
would
to
give
defend
Ben.
that, Ben. You're not going to defend that. There's no way you're going to defend that. No way. Not happening.
I think it's a little gross that we have 5 dudes on here talking about this, and so
Why?
I-
Why?
what do you mean?
Oh, we have
Why?
Biology is
There's no
biology,
why.
Ben. I have a right to
There's
talk
no-
about it in any way I want. I could, with that philosophy, therefore, I can't talk about tigers or nematodes.
Oh, I'm going to talk about tigers. Don't get me started, Chester. I love tigers.
My favorite's a Tygon.
Fair enough. That's fair. That is fair. That is the coolest one. That is true. But you know what I
Uh,
mean. Of course that argument is so stupid, dude. Of course we can talk about whatever. It's like
No,
women
no, no, no.
saying we can't talk about abortion. Fuck off.
yeah,
No.
I agree.
Like if there was a group of like, 4 chicks talking about what they think about circumcision, I would have like the same fucking like criticism of them. It's like y'all don't like have that, equipment to, be complaining about that, right? So, I mean, it's not that they can't have opinions, but like I don't know, it's just kind of weird that like it's
Ben,
4 dudes like,
Ben,
talking about it, right?
I'm
I
a
think there's
Ben. I've been married for a very long time. I know
I've been
all
married.
about menstruation.
I don't doubt it. I've been
Thank you.
married for a while too, and I
Yeah,
know about it as well.
yeah.
So I'm just saying that well, we can wax philosophic on this topic as much as you want. I think that there is some merit to like hearing the opinions of people who menstruate as part of that conversation.
I need not hear any comment
People who
from any
menstruate.
female whatsoever on this topic. It is
They do
completely
it in Japan?
stupid. Go do your goddamn
Well,
job or don't do it.
Yeah,
Hold on, because
I
I
like that.
remember this from when I worked in
I like
Japan that there was menstrual leave in Japan as well,
Well,
right?
I've never
So,
heard of such a thing. What are you talking about?
are you hold
well,
on?
Well,
Da, da,
Well,
da.
here, Chester,
I
you
have
have
female employees.
Since
exactly.
1947, a law was brought into force by the Japanese labor standards that allowed menstruating women to take days off. There is menstrual leave in Japan. Get fucked.
I've never ever heard of that. It's never come into application. I've had female employees working for me for over a decade, dude. No way.
well,
I'm just
well.
saying.
Okay. Here's my reason for saying it, Ben. The ones who said there's no difference between men and women except for societal constructs, then you don't fucking need a menstrual leave if there's no differences.
Yeah, I don't care about
So
that
pick
aspect
your
of it. That's
lane.
not what
Pick
I
your
care
lane.
about.
Hold on.
Either
That's not
there
the
are
conversation.
differences or they're not.
Hold on. That's not the
I
conversation.
agree.
I know what you're saying, and I'm more than willing to have that conversation, but that's not this conversation.
No,
Like,
it's not. This is about do
yeah.
your damn job. You don't get a week off every freaking month. Screw off, dude. It's hard enough
Well,
to.
especially since there's a multi-billion-dollar industry designed to make that as easy as possible. Literally, like that's not even hyperbolic at all. These companies exist, and they make tons of stuff to make periods as
I
easy
get
as
it.
possible.
And there are lots of people who deal with it just fine. I think there are, for some women, it is a bit harder on them than
Yes,
others.
It's true.
And this,
That is true. Yeah.
and I think this law is mostly intended for people who have that, because for a lot of, it depends on the
But
interpretation of the law, but it could just be that they get time off and not like paid time off, right? Those are two
It
different
doesn't
things.
matter, dude. I mean, I understand your
well,
point. I
doesn't that
get the
fall under
defend. No, hold
medical
on.
exemption
Let
then?
me come at this from an employer point of view, right? And I know Ben can
yeah,
come at that as well. But here's the thing: if you're talking about a big mega corporation, they can afford this kind of thinking, no problem. But for the mom and pops, which make up
No,
the
I get it.
majority of all businesses, that is a major pain in the ass for them, dude.
yeah,
It's really
yeah.
troublesome. If I had
No,
my
I
girls
wouldn't hire a woman like that.
well, yeah, if
No
I
way.
had my girls coming at me saying they each get a week, and you know how I don't know if you guys know this, but women who hang around each other, their menstruations sync up, right?
Yeah,
True.
So I would, if I went with that, my entire staff would be gone for days out
for a whole
every
week,
month. No,
Chester would
seriously,
probably end up killing himself. He'd be so bored.
it's insane. I'm because I don't care about the whole he or she. I don't care about that stupidity. That's not what I'm talking
Okay.
about. I'm talking about it from an employer point of view.
Yeah,
And that's fair. And I understand it. I'm not saying I'm for it one way or another, right? Um, I completely understand the challenges it presents when it comes from an employment perspective, especially small business employment
Yes.
perspective. Right? So, like, as far as that goes, I don't have as much dog in the hunt, as it were.
Mhm.
And like I said, I know it's a law in Japan because I saw it, utilized in
No, that's
Kyoto
fine.
Gym.
I've never heard of it though. Yeah,
Right. So I'm just saying, like, I know that it exists in Japan, and I know that it can be utilized. Depending on the office place, probably maybe not, for politeness sake, because you know how they get about politeness, right?
sure.
Um, so depending on the type of office place and stuff like that, right? So I mean, it's a complicated one, and I totally get it. So I don't, I'm
it
not
also
pro.
depends on the job, right? Like if you're working in, like you said, in an office A lot of times you can do that remote. I mean, we just did 2 years of it for a lot of people. They did
Right.
their whole job remote. So maybe that's what it'll be. It won't be they get full time off. They have to work from home or something. Which I actually think this is a totally broader conversation, but I think by and large, office like that office life is largely a relic of pre-internet that needs to probably just go away.
Maybe.
Mostly, I mean, you can still have it,
And,
but a
Yeah.
and
lot of
also,
these jobs they don't need an office building anymore. In all honesty, they just don't. The internet they can do their work remotely and probably be more productive in a lot of cases because they're not as stressed. Their schedule's a little looser because they don't have to commute, things like that. So
but to your
I don't
point,
know.
Chet, like this isn't like a law being enacted. This is a company, a big company, and they probably
Yep.
have the flexibility to offer it. And so when it comes down to stuff like this, you know why they're doing this is because they're trying to get talent, and doing things like this, broadens the talent pool that they can get. So they're probably just using it as like a recruiting highlight or something like that. So I don't know. I'm like I don't hate it simply because like it's a private industry, it's a private company, they can kind of do what they want in regards to that. So like not a big fucking deal.
Yep. I just, if you prevent your child from burning their finger on the stove, your child will be an idiot.
That's true.
Okay. Anyway,
I agree.
moving on. The absolute abomination is the Wheel of Time, which pisses me off because I actually read it and it was a pretty cool book. And there are plenty of really good female characters in the book, by the way. And they absolutely just destroyed this storyline. And but that's okay. Season 2, we're going to get more LGBTQIA whatever, and a polyamorous relationship. Okay, whatever that means. So great. And they're not going to take the gay scene from Doctor Strange, of course, for Saudi Arabia audiences, which means you won't release it in
Well,
Saudi Arabia.
right,
Fair
which means
enough.
they'll just ban it.
Yes,
So
ban
okay.
it. James Gunn defending Chris Pratt. Cool, fair enough.
Hey, listen, James. I know you're probably a pedo, but I respect that. You can win
Wow.
me over by being that way. I respect that.
I,
I
I don't get
respect the hell out of somebody defending Chris Pratt when he has nothing to gain from that. He has
well
nothing. There's
I
no
think you
gain he
triggered
can
Ben.
gain.
no
I
no no
did.
no.
I,
I'm like the Chris Pratt thing confuses me because I've done some research into this and like they're
yeah.
accusing him of being like with the Hillsong Church, but the Hillsong pastor, the guy who runs that, he's come out like I think it was in 2019. He was like, "Listen, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Chris Pratt has never been a part of our church, like in
Yeah.
the past or in the present." So
Mhm.
like, and then like people are like, well, why doesn't he say what church he's a member of? And I'm like, you
Because it's
fucking vultures! I
nobody's
wouldn't say
business.
anything
because he doesn't
publicly.
have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
If
I
he
mean,
does that, then people are going to go harass the church. That's
right.
why.
right.
And I totally
That's true.
like I totally understand that's like I wouldn't want to fucking do it either. But like I don't know, like this is one of those things where I think the woke scolds are getting a little bit like too scoldy in that regards, and
Yeah.
they're just
Well, they're looking for a scalp, right?
no,
Chris
totally,
Chris is
totally.
a straight white Christian actor, and for some reason that just cannot be permitted
Right.
to these
Well,
people.
but
So
keep in
they're
mind,
looking for a scalp.
that's mainly the Twitterati that are doing that kind of thing.
Totally.
Hollywood hasn't
Yeah.
really said
Yeah,
much about Chris at all, other than
And
No,
and
he's never
supporting
been
him.
denied anything from what we
Yeah.
could tell. So
I
yeah.
will actually correct you on that one, Thundero, just because I'm a little bit more into the progressive sphere that you are, and it's not they don't just go after white Christian men; they go after anybody, right? Like the
Oh, of
reality
course.
is like the
yeah,
further you want on the progressive side, like the more of a target you are. Like so, let's take for example like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro's not going to get canceled by anybody, right?
No.
Mm.
But like I've seen them try to cancel like fucking Critical Role, and I've actually seen them
Sure.
try to cancel like Lindsay Ellis or even like Philosophy Tube and other people.
Sure.
So like it the more progressive you are, actually, the more of a target you have on your back
Oh,
because
yeah.
from a woke
Yeah,
school perspective,
they
if
eat
they
their
feel
own.
like-
They do.
yeah, if they feel they
Yeah.
can take down somebody who is seen as a very progressive person, then it gives them more progressive points or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like
yeah.
so
It's weird cult-like behavior, is what it is.
it is, a very. I understand there's a certain level of accountability, kind of like Chet talking about like the blood drinking and all that stuff, right? Like the
Yeah.
weirdness that happens and keeping weird people like Amber Heard in check, but like that gets a little bit like I think the righteousness gets a little bit too addictive for certain Twitter personalities, and it becomes not only just counterproductive, it's become self-consuming to a certain
Oh, yeah.
degree.
That's very true. Yeah, it is true.
Well, when you have when you have a striving for the word you used, righteousness, and you do not temper that with humility, you will always become a monster. Always, every
Right.
time. It's inevitable. It'll eventually, that desire to be right, to be righteous, to punish what you see as the wicked,
Mhm.
will overwhelm every other sense you have, and that's what all you'll become. And that's what
Right.
these
Oh,
people
Well,
have become.
and clearly Chris Pratt is nowhere near as bad as the Twitterati say, or Hollywood would be after him. Take an example of another one of their own they went after hardcore. His name is Donald Trump. Because keep in mind, before he decided to run for president, they loved him. He was one of
Yes,
them, right? Because
it's
he
true.
is a
I don't.
liberal. Keep in mind, he's not
They
an
even
actual
wrote songs
conservative.
about him.
I
There
don't
was
know
even
if I would
songs
say
about
they
him.
loved
Well,
him.
there was
They
some that
Oh
might
yeah.
not have, but you know what I
like
mean.
that.
You know what I mean.
He's
They
like
turned on
watching a
him
living
hard.
car
Same,
crash.
yeah.
So,
Well, same thing with Ronald Reagan, right? Ronald Reagan was beloved in Hollywood, and then he decided he wanted to run for politics again and get it in California, became the governor, and they hated him and they dogged him. They dogged him all the way in the White House, right? They do that, dude. They do that. So
Yeah.
therefore, Chris Pratt must not be making too much noise because the Hollywood actually supports him. So
well, I mean, like
Well,
think
that and he's insanely profitable.
yeah, he
when
is.
James
Yeah.
Gunn had his turn on being canceled, right? Chris Pratt signed a letter with the other actors saying, like, we're not going to make the next Guardians without James Gunn,
Yep,
right? Like
that's fair.
they backed James Gunn when he was going through his own, cancellation, and I think
Yeah.
James Gunn is,
Well,
paying it back and
the
stuff, right?
the whole
That's
thing with
fair.
James Gunn though is that was a case of live by the sword, die by the sword, and he didn't want to die by the sword he was previously wielding.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
in
let's be
that
fair,
regard,
he
I
is a
didn't
bit
feel
of a
sorry
perv
for
though.
him.
Oh,
He
I
is
think there's
like,
a lot of smoke to that fire, but there's no concrete proof, so you can't say definitively.
yeah,
Well, as far as pedophile, but he's a perv
that's
Yeah.
otherwise though.
that's the only reason I would do that. Like I said before, I'm fine with telling any kind of joke depending on how you craft the joke. But there
Sure.
also comes a point where if you tell a joke and people can't tell if you're joking or not,
Yeah, then it's not a joke.
that's when you should stop. Maybe you should stop. And I realize that on Twitter and places where you can't read tone and see a
Right.
person's
That's true.
facial expressions, which is vital
Exactly.
for certain kind of
Well,
jokes.
the thing is,
Maybe
Grimlock,
that's not the place to tell those
that's
kind of
true.
jokes.
But the thing is, though, Grimlock, they should try to be more like me because every one of my jokes hit.
Oh, all the time. Yeah, they hit something.
Every single one, every single one, and the
It's
truth
it's like he's
series
bullseye over
result,
here, just
that,
That's right.
nailing
and
it.
the
That's
that
right.
one
real.
that one's actually one of his better jokes,
Thank
folks.
you. Well, good. It's more about quantity than it is quality.
That's true. Yes, to bad comedians, that's correct.
That's
Yes.
right. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Well,
that.
fuck, I've heard Amy Schumer tell 1,000 bad jokes. I haven't seen the bitch make me laugh yet.
Oh,
Yeah, but she's
she did
just
do
not
one good
funny.
one. I saw her do a good one a long time ago. She was in a debate with
Was it
Steven
her joke or
Crowder.
did she steal it?
Well, true. She was in a debate with Steven Crowder on Fox News of all places, and she actually landed a good one on him. But it was the only, I don't even remember what it was, but it was the only time she ever made me kind of chuckle. Other than that, it's always like,
It's
Amy,
not
that's not
hard.
funny.
Steven Crowder's not a good comedian.
It's not funny, Amy.
No, he's
Amy,
not
that's not
much of a
funny.
comedian at all, but although he wants to be. Although Steven's show is entertaining, though.
From a
Overall, I
train,
think.
Sometimes.
from a train wreck perspective, I guess, but
I don't know if it's that bad, dude. When's the last time you watched it?
I try because I don't like echo chambers. I try to do a due
I do.
diligence, and I will consume regularly some Tucker, Shapiro, and Crowder on a regular basis, just to
Sure.
keep things sharp.
Oh, I do the same thing. Yeah, I do the
Yeah.
same thing. Out of those three, though, boy, that's a very mixed amount of names you just thrown out. I think Tucker is a person who I actually would enjoy sitting down and drinking a beer with, though. Ben Shapiro
Fly
is,
fishing.
yeah, no, I
Tucker
think I
likes
would
to fly
enjoy
fish.
hanging with Tucker.
I get the
Uh,
impression
Yeah,
Tucker drinks beer, but
yeah, I think Steven is probably absolutely an enormous prima donna. I feel.
he is. He is.
oh
Um,
yeah,
Uh,
uh,
I
there have
think
been
Tucker.
interviews people have given who used to work with him who basically, in not so many
So
words, that's what they said.
you know how this stuff is coming out about Madison Cawthorn about dressing up in the bra
Yeah.
and the stuff. Pretty sure there's some like Crowder-esque pictures floating around of that same nature.
Oh,
So
absolutely,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
100%.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But Ben Shapiro, just keep in mind, be nice to Ben because he will be the president of Israel one day.
I think you're probably right.
I
He
know,
does
I
seem
am
to be
definitely
being
right. He's being
groomed by
groomed. Yeah,
powerful people.
Oh
he
my
is. Yeah,
god.
yeah.
Brett says your jokes hit like Amber Heard hitting Johnny.
oh,
Effective then, huh? Because she draws blood, baby.
Oh,
I get nothing but hate, Ben. Nothing but hate.
that's right.
just
Correct. Yeah.
hey, at least they didn't say you have the same sense of humor as Amber Heard, and you think leaving shit in the bed is a good practical
That
joke.
is fair. That is fair. That is
Be
fair.
worse.
But interesting choice of people you put together there. Frickin' Steven Crowder, Tucker Carlson, and Ben Shapiro. Wow.
All lefties. Screw them.
What? They're all
I said they're
lefties.
all lefties. Screw them.
No, they're not.
Wow, that's an
Um,
interesting take.
I don't know which one of those do you prefer most, Ben?
Oh, we're using preference in a very heavy tone there. So
Okay, which one would you be least likely to pull your hair out talking to one on one?
probably Tucker.
Yeah.
I kind of have a hate on for Tucker anyways, but he gets like he's a populist, right?
is.
And so like from if you take a look at like some of the broad scopes ideology that he talks about, he actually talks about like a lot of the same things like the ultra left like progressives talk about.
Sure.
But then like he ends up like kind of skewing the conversation in a weird way. Like we talked about one time, he had that very weird analytical like review of like politics where he was like, you know, the Republicans are supposed to be pro, you know, business, and the liberals are supposed to be pro individual, and the reason we're in a shit show is because the liberals haven't done a good enough job of like fighting against the Republicans, right? It was this weird interview I saw him do. I think it was like on the Ben Shapiro
He
show or
gives
something
the
like
Republicans a lot of shit too, dude.
that.
He
To
does.
some degree.
Yeah.
It's weird. It kind of depends on
Right.
like how he's feeling. And he had that really weird, like, did you see that like the Fall of Men or something like that? That documentary he's doing with the sun tanning of the testicles and stuff.
No, I haven't seen that. Yeah.
You haven't seen that?
No.
It's weird. It's
Testicles. That is
Well, I think with Tucker, it's kind of amazing the success he's having because all he's doing is saying very simple, common sense things. He's not making any incredible, epiphany creating comments. He's saying very common sense, middle of the road stuff. Whereas Ben Shapiro, he's the facts all the time. Thank you, ma'am. Right? Uh,
well, I think Tucker would be more well received had he not rose to popularity on Fox News.
oh
Like
well, dude,
if he'd
he
have been
didn't though.
if he would have been like
He
yeah,
he.
but I'm saying like if he was like a YouTuber, like if he
Oh
had
well, yeah.
gained the following that he did like on a YouTube or somewhere more seen as more independent, I think more people would be willing to give him a chance because
Sure.
I think Tucker's rather milk toast in a lot
Well,
of his
that's my
opinions.
point.
It's like
Yeah, it's very standard. But I mean, you're
uh,
wrong in that way, Grimlock. He didn't come to fame on Fox. He came to fame on CNN.
yeah, but
You guys
I'm
seem
gonna
to
be honest.
forget where he's coming from.
Most
He worked for CNN,
but
then he
most
worked for MSNBC.
but most people that I'm aware of, like as far as like the outrage toward him, didn't really start until he got to Fox News.
Oh well,
Yeah.
fair.
right. On those things, I think he was more plain Jane pundit than he. What Grimlock's talking about is the level of popularity that he's achieved has been
Yeah,
primarily on Fox, right?
Yeah, sure, fair
yeah,
enough.
Post
I
bow tie.
guess
Post
he
bow
was pretty
tie.
big back in the crosstalk times, but
Yeah.
Crossfire was never that popular though, right? It was.
well, I don't know, but whatever. I get your point. But my thing is that Tucker is he's I don't find him offensive at all because he's really
yeah.
not saying anything introspective or outrageous. It's very common sense. The reason he's so popular is because the idiots in the other media are so out fucking left field that it allows him to speak right in the middle on very common sense things that everybody's like, yeah, yeah, that's right, and therefore he's having success. So as far as I'm concerned, I mean that's awesome.
Well,
Like one of the best,
he's not as tribalistic as the others.
nowhere near.
That's really
And
yeah.
actually, some of the best interviews he's done are off of the mainstream media. He did stuff with Dave Rubin. He sat down with who was that guy that did that kind of? He did it with Ben Shapiro. He sat down with I think Stephen Colbert or one of
No,
those
I don't.
type. Or what was the other one? The guy, the Daily Show guy. What's his name?
Trevor Noah,
No,
that
no,
one or
no,
the old
the
one?
that idiot. No,
John
the
Stewart.
John Stewart. Yeah, but
Yeah.
these kind of things where he sits down outside of mainstream, it just sits. He's very relaxed and it's very fun conversations. I like those better actually. But yeah, I actually kind of like Tucker. I don't
What do you
mind
think
him
of
at all.
Sean Hannity taking directions from the White House?
Who?
Who?
Sean Hannity taking directions from the White House.
Oh, dude, he's 100% Republican propagandist. He always has been.
Okay.
The only thing I
Yeah.
give Hannity credit for is that he doesn't deny that for a second.
Yeah,
He
even
knows
though
what he is.
he's got that fingernails on the chalkboard kind of voice
He
too.
can.
He's
He
also a
can.
manlet. He's a
Yeah.
very
Well,
short man.
yeah, but I don't really have much trouble with Hannity because he's very clear. I'm a Republican. I support the Republicans. Here we go. And he is what he is. So either watch it or don't watch it. I hate all this stupid warmongering coming out of them because this is dumb. We don't need to be getting any kind of conflict with Russia. What are you talking about? But they do that. That's what they are. They're a very easy to understand animal, right? And I much preferred Hannity back when he was with Combs. I thought that was a much better balanced show. But I get what Hannity is, but it's also like Papa Bear, O'Reilly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
O'Reilly was really interesting because like he had that like infamous like friendship slash friendly rivalry with like Jon Stewart, and
Yeah,
like it was really interesting to hear them like riff off each other because I think that was back in an era where there was a lot more cross talk,
Commonality.
yeah,
yeah, and stuff. It
common
was
ground.
they could
Yeah.
have fights, but it didn't get like, and even
Well,
like
I think
Stewart, good.
I think what caused that rift was a change in messaging because the right wing, to its detriment, is typically very reactionary, right?
Oh yeah,
That's kind of its MO. So
right.
when the left's rhetoric shifted hard from Obama's "Yes we can" style patriotism to "America was never great," shit like
Yeah,
that, I
yeah,
think that's where the divide really drove in, and now it's much harder typically for those sorts of high profile friendships to exist. When they're in the camps, right? When they're in the tribes, because then they get the questions and they get the attacks from their side, like you were talking about. People get ate up by
yeah.
their
You're not
side.
allowed to be friends with the
Yeah,
other
it
side.
seems
That's
like
true.
you're being disloyal,
Yeah,
and that wasn't as much the case, and it's really the case now, and
sure.
it's not getting any better either. I don't
I
see
would
that
argue
getting any better.
I'm gonna argue with your timeline a little bit, not necessarily with your thesis, but like I remember during the 2008 election, and like John
Mhm.
McCain would go do his sort of like public speaking bits as part of his presidential run, and he
Yep.
had people in the audience like ask him questions like, "I'm worried about Obama being a jihadist in the White House," and McCain had to
Yep.
constantly correct people, and they booed him, and it's like
Sure.
I feel like that started some of the culture war, like you said, from a very reactionary perspective of like
Yep.
there was a big anti-Obama perspective, and you can be against his policies and stuff like that, but like that whole shtick got really weird.
Yeah, no,
And
I
Mhm.
get your point. Yeah, that's true.
and good
But
on McCain. He was a very good candidate. He kept it honest and he kept it real, but that was
Well,
not that was not
he was
largely.
he was at least in that regard. He was trying to play fair ball, but he
well,
wasn't a
yeah.
good candidate.
But he was wrong though because Obama definitely was a jihadist in the White House.
The problem is he was only on jihad against other Muslims
I
apparently
know,
because he kept
right?
blowing them up all over
That's
the
what they
Middle East.
usually do, though. But actually, Ben, I think the real schism in American thinking, there's been many moments, but I think the real big one was 9/11.
No, I
Um,
thought
Yeah.
we came together from 9/11.
yeah, that's the problem. We came together and it pissed off a lot of people that everyone was so patriotic, and there's been a pushback ever since. And it's come to absolutely fever pitch, right?
All I know is I was a young teenager. I was about, what was that, 2001, so I was like 17, 16, 17.
Mhm.
And since then, I have never felt what it's like to live in a truly a country that truly loves its people, except for that month after 9/11.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was beautiful.
Old
It was
Bush.
it felt so good to be an
Yeah.
American for about a month there. Didn't last because
No.
politics is
Bush
politics, but
ruined
man,
that, dude. What an
Oh
opportunity.
yeah,
yeah.
Dumbass.
yeah,
He he was, I'm not one of those guys who will vilify Bush. I think he's kind of an idiot, but I don't think he was an ill-intentioned idiot.
No.
And he trusted the wrong people. Like
He did.
Cheney was the real problem in all of that
yeah.
spiel,
I
right?
agree.
And
The swamp creatures like your
yeah,
Cheneys and them.
totally.
That's been the problem. Those are the people you're talking about, Chester. Those are the ones who want to drive that wedge as much as
Yeah, I know.
possible.
I'm well
Yeah.
aware.
And I just don't know how they get dealt with. That's another topic for another time.
Heads and
Um,
pikes. Heads and pikes.
that's one way. I do think though that we will probably never have a moment that brings the country together like that again. I just don't see it. It could be,
I disagree with
very
that.
well could happen. I'd love to be wrong. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah.
You gotta
Not now.
you gotta Watchmen this thing, and then it'll happen.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Although I much prefer to go with the original Alien invasion than what they did in the movie.
I don't know.
Well,
Like
it is interesting. The government basically admitted to aliens last year, and nobody
did.
really gave a shit.
I
Everybody
know.
was like, "Yeah, that's cool, that's great. We're food's getting expensive. Can we talk about
Well,
that?" No, aliens though.
yeah, but well, you remember back in the late '60s, there was that big old meeting, that brain trust meeting, where they were talking about, the idea of revealing what would happen if you revealed the existence of aliens, and that meeting came to the understanding that it would create massive panic across the world and destruction. Therefore, we cannot ever allow such information out, and that was the decision made, and that's how they went going forward. It seems here recently that they've started changing that. Now, some people who are into conspiracy theories would say that a lot of things, like say Star Trek and many of the space-themed movies, have been put out there to try to inoculate you to the idea of aliens. I don't know if you want to go down that route, but whatever. Conspiracy theories are fine. But it does seem like they have shifted their policy, though. So I don't know what that means. Are there aliens, Ben?
I can neither confirm nor deny the existence thereof.
See, I knew it. I knew
That
it.
sounds like a yes to me.
Sounds like a yes to
I
me.
can neither confirm nor deny the existence thereof.
There, thank you. Thank you.
No
What was I doing? Oh yeah. Sorry, my wife called me, and I have to get her pain meds. Apparently, she's having back pain. So
Well, I gotta
I'm not
shut
by
the
my
show down
computer.
anyway. I got work to go to. But nevertheless, guys, thank you very much for coming in. Keep in mind tomorrow we will be covering comic book stuff. And one of the things I would appreciate if you drop in the Discord, and of course the guys here as well, if there's any particular type of comic book heroes or villains or leagues or teams or whatever that you would like us to cover here, because I do like talking about those things. Please let us know. And I will take the time to put that together. Who knows? Maybe even one of these guys will do a presentation. But come back tomorrow for that, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Other than that, thank you all very, very much. Thank you to Ben, Grimlock, and Thundero. But we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thundero, take us out of here, man. Thundero. I guess he's gone. So, Ben, would you like to give me a quote that I can say namaste to at the end?
Just remember that despite all the differences of opinions, that we're all still human beings on this planet spinning around at a couple hundred miles an hour, and that in the end we're all born and and we all die, and there's all that in between is the love that we have for each other.
Oh, namaste. And not to be pedantic, it's 1,000 miles an hour. Later.